But you know what? We've got a lot on the line here. We really do. And you look at what's happening in this election. Yes. Are you going to vote for me? Get out of here. But you know what? We've got a lot on.
Oh, that's one of. Actually, I've had a lot of Schadenfreude moments this week. I shouldn't lie. It's been fun. Hello, humans. Welcome to Power Report for this week. Power Report Live. It is the 25th of January, 2024. God willing, I am Dan from the internet. I am joined, as many of you are watching on her channel, by Cosmepolitics. Christina, how are you doing? Good to see you.
I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. It's been quite the week.
Yeah, as I was saying before the stream, and as my somewhat charismatic persona is currently hiding, it's been a week for me as well. I'm not sure who is having I don't know. This is kind of a pop related thing. Do you ever remember that VH1 show Best Week Ever? That was just like a slideshow of like someone just like really shitty week, like a lot of celebrities just like really bad weeks, and like that was just was that Andy Cohen?
Maybe.
Because like I know. No, I gotta. No, there were different.
different like
comedians who
commentators
are on there. Yeah, because I thought I remember Andy Cohen from being on there. Because I'm like, who the hell is the guy who's with Anderson Cooper drunk on?
Andy Cohen.
Yeah, the New Year's things.
The only time seeing it is fun to watch.
Yeah, that's really true. I remember I think it was last year, not 2020, not like New Year's going into 2024, so the one we just had a month ago, but the year before that, I think they had made a rule that like the hosts weren't allowed to drink. Yeah, which is just like defeats the whole purpose. I mean, like I'm not saying that we should endorse that on air. That being said, kablooey Twitch. However, that's pretty much the only time these people on air are like sufferable people. The only time these people aren't goblins.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, of course the cold open that I played in the beginning, as folks are trickling in here. Good to see you all. Let me just look in chat as I'm going in here. But the cold open I was playing was from Nikki Haley. Speaking of the day of the New Hampshire primary, which we just had 2 days ago at the time we're recording. Spoiler alert, she lost. Something we could have told you and probably did tell you at least a year ago. So go us. And yeah, some heckler was in the crowd saying like, no, Nikki Haley, will you marry me? Which is, classic, common what you would expect from a woman in Republican politics. And of course you get this from like on the Democratic side too, and just being like a woman as a public figure, and especially but Nikki Haley kind of plays along, which is something Ron DeSantis can never do. Because if I gotta pause the story here for a moment, can you imagine Ron DeSantis is going like some like drunk but conventionally attractive woman is going like, hey DeSantis, want to get hitched or want to get married or like want to come to my hotel room or something? How would Ron DeSantis act? Would just be like, I'm sorry, I don't know if I can walk up that many flights of stairs in my heels or some whatever. I don't even know if he could play that off.
And that's one thing I told my mom. She's like, he seems like he can have the gay vote with those boots. I'm like, nah. He's like because he's like 5'7" or something like that. They're like, well, his heels make him like 6'2". I'm like, that is ridiculous. If you're going from 5'7" to like 6'2", okay.
There was something mad cold that Chris Hayes from MSNBC said that was just like, to quote him, paraphrase him. Listen, I know I'm a New Yorker and I don't understand the middle of the country, but I know the United States of America, and Ron DeSantis is simply too short to be president.
True.
I was like, hey man, Chris Hayes, you got to give it to him. Bam will be joining in just a moment. He's just entered in. I will give him a second to get himself sorted and figured out. But while we're on stream, streaming on the yard, we've got, good for Gabby. Good to see you. The anti-corporatist. Bad Lefty holding it down. I've seen you in a lot of streams today. Because I've been watching streams while I work, so that's how it's been.
I wish I could do that. Just listen to music while I work.
You know, just like listen to streams while you work.
Nah. Whenever I have whenever, well, it depends if I have the person's like Wi-Fi at the house, because sometimes it just pauses and like keeps buffering.
Right.
Yeah, so
That's fair. What was your? I mean, we've been talking. I forget like when your first time on Power Report has been, but I know like we've been following each other on Twitter for many years now. But I feel like a long story has been DeSantis, both kind of seeing him as he has come about in, was governor of Florida, both watching his political career, slowly sort of kind of like burgeon, making the unforced error of launching his political campaign against Donald Trump when he's like the
yeah,
most popular thing in the Republican Party, really in the 21st century, possibly even since Reagan. And, since then running a bumbling failure completely online, now with 20% more Sonengrad kind of campaign.
yeah.
And I think seeing that fall, especially considering, realistically, all of the damage that he has done to the LGBTQ plus community,
And
movements
changing the
towards,
rules
yeah,
for himself. He still was like, I'm gonna run for president and still be governor of Florida, even though I'm gonna abandon Florida for like a year.
yeah, like he's bending the rules for himself, trying to bend the rules for Republicans in a way that, like, I think Ron DeSantis probably caught himself being slick or thought he was being slick when he was in the situation of, oh, you know what? I'm going to paint Disney as a woke corporation. And even though they provide a lot of money to me, I'm going to, make some sort of weird issue about Disney being in my state, so much so that I'm
Yeah.
willing to risk them moving out of my state. And Disney's like, yo, we're Disney, bet. Bob Iger, the CEO, on again, off again CEO of Disney's like, all right, yeah, bet, totally. I don't care. And
Imagine
so,
if they
yeah,
moved Disney World or even like Universal, because Universal Studios is also in Florida. So it's like, imagine if they decide to like join forces and like get out of Florida. That would be so bad.
woke Comcast. No,
Yeah.
just the way these businesses work. If Comcast or NBC or either side, however you want to do it, right? Like if you had Disney leave and purely go to California, or Georgia's got a lot of a content, upbringing. If they decide to move to Georgia, because that's fairly close, you would
Yeah.
definitely have the scenario where like whatever company is staying in Florida would be like, okay, we got Florida to ourselves. We can now
Yeah.
compete and like take up that monopoly, because that's how these companies are.
And this is why a lot of people are mad at the Biden administration, because when Obama was president, he actually used I think like Department of Education, or whatever, whenever the first round of anti-LGBTQ plus bills were happening in states like North Carolina, Obama was like, "You're not doing this. We're going to pull federal funding. NBA teams are going to be, moving their games to other states," and it worked. It worked, which is why we hadn't heard anything until Trump, well, a few years after Trump came into power. So it's like, Biden, the Democrats are like, well, the Republicans are doing this culture war nonsense and they'll move on to the next culture war. I'm like, but the problem is they're going to move on after they've done their damage.
Yeah. And so we can definitely have, Bam's about to join in a moment. We can definitely have a bigger postmortem about Ron DeSantis's campaign. But as we're bringing Bam on, there's a really good question in here, I believe I saw from Anti-Corporatus, saying, how tall is Biden? Not that tall, if I remember correctly. Bam, thank you for joining. Without Googling, how tall is Joe Biden?
Oh, I'm going to say 5'11".
Okay, Christina, assuming you haven't Googled, how tall is Joe Biden?
I'm thinking like 5'10", 5'11" as well, somewhere's one or the other.
6 even. But that's what everyone who's 5'11" says. So yeah. I'm gonna give you that. Give you that. Yeah. If especially we're playing Prices Right, that's definitely good. Shout out to Karina watching on Twitter X. You know how that go.
What?
Yeah,
we gotta.
we can stream to X now. I didn't know that. I just saw that button one day. I'm like, damn, sweet. Okay, cool. One
Yeah.
extra viewer, sweet.
You love Elon.
Of course, he's giving me that Mr. Beast money, of course.
Oh yeah, you're gonna make millions.
Yeah, an Argentinian peso.
6'5". That's a little too tall, Don.
Yeah, 6'5". No, sadly no. Not 6'2" either. Anyways, like we were just saying, it has been a week. We just played the Nikki Haley, Will You Marry Me? Even though I'm voting for Trump.
Great.
You asked that fateful you asked that cross-examination question on me, Bam, a couple months ago. That was, if I had to pick a Republican candidate, who would it be? And I said Nikki Haley because I was like, I think she's the strongest one in this situation. And Dan is right, Tor, once again. So I mean, she's the last one standing, but
You didn't even win her state.
Yeah. I mean, did you want me to say that I was going to be picking Trump or something?
No, I didn't ask who was going to be left. I just asked who you would
pick. Who would I pick?
You weren't right. You weren't right, Dan.
Well, the reasonings why I picked Nikki Haley are the reasonings why she is in second and in consideration. It's like, okay, listen. I would be on Dan Ferrier at PackWatch if I had answered Ron DeSantis or Vivek Ramaswamy or Doug Burgum.
No, it'd be funny.
I mean, if you're going to come out with an ad that features both the Humans Report and TYT, your campaign is way too online.
Yeah, like there's no reason. I think I wasn't like Sam in an ad, like something.
So I think someone's. I was like, "What is this?" I'm like, the average person doesn't know who these people are. Peace and love to them, because a lot of those people are friends of ours. But I'm like, that's kind of,
So sorry, we're bearing the lead here. The dude, as we were starting this campaign, like I like to think of PowerPoint as like how we marked history as it was happening, or like how time in politics as it was happening, right? Not to be all pompous about it, right? But Ron DeSantis launched his campaign on Twitter as Elon Musk was trying to rebrand it as X, and he was trying to rebrand it back then as a Clubhouse competitor, which
that went out. That happened so smoothly. I remember the audio was great. There was no glitches. Nothing bad happened. It was a successful launch from what I remember.
I mean, I promise I'm going to save my Elon Musk dunking for another time, because I'm probably going to get sued the next time I do it, because it's going to be really embarrassing for him. But like, we've gone from X is going to be, Twitter is going to be X, is going to be the everything platform, to it's going to be the Clubhouse replacement, to it's going to be a banking service, to it's going to be like day trading, to it's going to be YouTube. Like he's gone to Facebook's 2016 pivot to video that basically like decimated thousands of journalist jobs already, and like we're still feeling it to this week. Rip a lot of people at the Los Angeles Times, for example. And yeah, we're just kind of living in those remnants of that. Nevertheless, Ron DeSantis launched his campaign on that. Christina, like you said, the audio was glitchy. You couldn't really hear him. It was like the worst Zoom call. Like, oh, sorry, you're on mute. Or wait, I can't hear you. Could you repeat that? Like,
yeah. And then it kept like cutting off. Like they had to keep restarting.
His campaign was releasing Nazi shit. Okay. Yeah. There were people coming to his rallies. There are people showing up outside of Disneyland with swastikas and Confederate flags
on his campaign.
And yes, like, and somehow Vivek Ramaswamy was even more online, which is why I was like, dude, no, you're like, Ron DeSantis was the flame out of the race this year, and Vivek was just like even worse. That was like an even quicker rise and fall off an even more unhinged strategy. But
but he's gonna get the kids to vote, even though he's against having the voter age to be 18. He wants to raise it, but he's gonna get the kids to come in and vote for Trump.
He's against all the things that kids find enjoyable, especially the whole crusade against trans people thing. Like that was a really big rhetorically winning issue for the Republican Party in the 2022. It was doing really well for them culturally until the Supreme Court had that overturning Roe v. Wade decision, and that backfired. And Ron DeSantis started to see that, like, okay, this culture war thing isn't like any percent speed run glitch to the presidency. And so once you start seeing that bubble kind of burst, you saw that Ron DeSantis was the untalented one-trick pony politician that he really was.
Yeah. And I think too, Florida, since a lot of women do live in Florida, women who are of, or people who are birthing age.
More gators.
Yeah. They're putting in they want to vote on something to make abortion protected in the state of Florida.
Right. And so, like, that's going to be something that makes Donald Trump have even more appeal than Ron DeSantis. So it's even like we're back to step one of, like, why are you running against Donald Trump when your own state likes Donald Trump? When you got elected off of Donald Trump's Bam, what are your thoughts?
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of Vivek, like he just never had a shot. But it is kind of crazy to see how bad Ron DeSantis flamed out. Like, I don't know, in recent times, somebody who had all the Republican Party cachet and just lost it so fast. I think it shows that you gotta have personality. Like, you have to. And he just has no personality, no personability. He's just unlikable. And it's not even for like the typical slime ball kind of stuff. He doesn't. It's not like the same reason somebody might dislike Gavin Newsom. Like, he just seems like just a politician. It's just Ron DeSantis he's just unlikable. Like, he doesn't relate to people at all.
He's just.
And I don't know if he, like, people were saying, like, talking about him being on the spectrum and stuff. I don't know. Like, but I heard that. I think he should have leaned into it. He should have leaned into it.
Not that. I mean, I don't know what, and I agree too. Like, he just doesn't have charisma.
None.
He doesn't have any. Like, he realized that he can't. He has to go out in the real world. He can't be doing all this shit in Florida. Even though we haven't really seen him in front of a national audience. So when he ran for president, we were all like. Oh, this is the guy who's bringing fascism to Florida. This guy has like the personality of like a toad. Like, what is happening here? That guy?
The famous Benjamin Dixon line, the personality of a Borg describing Ron DeSantis. Yeah, he's just like there's that gif where he's just like, bug-eyed and stupid looking. Like, I'm surprised.
Or his smile.
Considering I'm gonna go there. I'm sorry, but I'm going to go there.
Let's go.
Considering what we heard from Donald Trump in 2016, which is going to be, I haven't even gotten a Nikki Haley yet. Bro, I haven't even gotten a Tim Scott yet. Okay?
Oh,
so I'm just getting started here.
But
considering what we got from watch me. Considering what we got in 2016 from Donald Trump, I'm surprised all we got was Ron DeSanctimonious. I'm surprised we didn't get sassy Ron. I'm just surprised we didn't.
The fascist?
But Donald Trump would not call Ron DeSantis the fascist because, like, that's just like too easy, right?
Yeah.
But like, risky Ron. There's so many different frisky Ron. There's so many different things. There's so many different things Donald Trump could have said about it. Gavin Newsom said more things about Ron DeSantis's wife in this election cycle than Donald Trump said, which honestly, I would have taken the under if this was like 2021. Okay. So the theme kind of this cycle is that Donald Trump is letting these candidates embarrass themselves on his behalf. And like, it's working almost in a way you couldn't like write an Oscar like award winning film for. Definitely Greta Gerwig couldn't. Later, we'll get to that later.
Yeah, I don't know. This guy is. I don't know what he's going to do now. Like, I wonder if he's going to run again because I would hope in 2028, like, a lot of the stuff that he's saying is going to be outdated. I would hope so. but you never know. They might still be talking about woke books in
Yeah.
4 years. But yeah, I just don't think he has it. Like, I can't really see him ever winning even a nomination at this point. Like,
Yeah.
if Trump, if Nikki Haley is gonna be more popular than him and more likable than him politically until she dies.
This is Ron DeSantis's future. Ropeless necklace. This is what Ron DeSantis is going to. I don't we'll put up the hotlines in the description. But honestly, we would be a lot better if he were just, find a trip on a chair. Anyways, what would I say? The ceiling fan salute. What
That's what I'm thinking. Maybe in 2020,
take a bath, plug in a toaster.
Probably run for president as a Democrat.
Who, Ron DeSantis?
Yeah, if Ron DeSantis were to run in 2028, and JB Pritzker would be like the Democrat, JB Pritzker would kick his ass. He's already done it.
I mean, I think at this point Andrew Gillum would kick his ass as like a generic Democrat.
He almost lost to a dude who found out was doing cocaine with a sex worker. That would have been the governor of Florida. I would have been fine with that.
I mean, that would have been the governor of Florida, and I think we would have been fine with that. I think that's exactly the situation. But Ron DeSantis, there was that quote that was like, you know what? Donald Trump was saying, I am officially retiring the name Ron DeSanctimonious. He of course, he's gonna WWE this whole thing. So that was really embarrassing. Bam, as you were just coming on, we were kind of discussing the longer term ramifications of Ron DeSantis proving out that you can run the. I mean, not really proving out. Republicans have done this for generations, but running this anti-culture war play when you have what Republicans are saying behind the scenes, an election cycle where they ain't got dick to show the American people that they've done, right? And so Ron DeSantis proved out, at least for a little bit, that even in 2020, even in the 2020s, this anti-culture war stuff has steam. So I think as much as we make fun of him, that's the damage that he did. But as far as his legacy, as we kind of put this sick fuck to rest and hopefully never talk about him in any relevant way in politics again, because let me tell you, for every single one of these people, I mean, unless they end up as ambassador to Uzbekistan, we are never going to hear from these people again. And if Trump gives them ambassador status, honestly, I'm going to come on the show and tell you this man has changed. Because Trump,
oh yeah, for sure,
Trump wouldn't make Ron DeSantis ambassador of shoe shining,
no,
right?
no.
Trump would deport Ron DeSantis on camera if it were legally possible. Trump wants to embarrass all of the people who dared get in his way running for even though he's topping all these people in the polls 4-1, he is insulted they would ever consider getting out of line when he is the presumptive candidate, when the polls are saying they're presumptive candidate. And no, he's going to dog walk all of these people. He is going to make the next month or so as miserable as possible for Nikki Haley until she drops out, because her calculation is not going to work well. But I've said enough. That's how I feel. Any last thoughts as we do the little dance on underneath the coffin that is Ron DeSantis' political career?
I just hope, that we don't hear from him anymore. Hopefully, Florida can vote in a governor who is not an idiot and just he's like a slave to the culture wars. Anything that comes out, it's okay, I got to do that too. Okay, the books are bad, Disney's bad.
You can't you cannot go on social media as a kid in Florida, but you can sure work overtime in Florida now as a kid.
Yeah, work 50 hours or something like that. Yeah, hopefully he goes into the dustbins of history and ends up being like an ombudsman or something at a university or something like that. Like,
I don't want him as I mean, definitely not an ombudsman at a university,
I can
but
see him doing like a
Liberty you.
Fox News.
I don't even want him to be on Fox News. I want to
You
give him
can't.
the
You can't.
I want to give him the old Pete Buttigieg treatment, where like he's an assistant general manager at a Walmart somewhere in Wichita.
There you go.
He can't be in media for real. Like, he can't do that. Like, he's got to go where people just like him because of who he is pretending to be. Yeah, PragerU. Bad Lefty said PragerU. Yeah, go be the registrar at PragerU.
Also, PragerU is the place where failed leftist content creators go and get their money's due by being right wingers.
I mean,
I made a video about Alex Epstein, the like pro fossil fuels guy, and homeboy's still on there working that shit. I mean, I'm just like, wow, what are we?
Wasn't there some people that were gonna make a university in Texas or something like that?
They're doing like learning curriculums with PragerU, like in Oklahoma and a few other states.
What was the one from New York Times? The woman, I forgot her name.
Shea Redcheck or Lips of TikTok?
No. She used to write for the New York Times.
Yes, Barry Weiss. Yes, Barry Weiss. They were gonna.
Thank you, Bad Lefty.
Bad Lefty is just on it.
Yeah.
Weren't they gonna make some university in Texas? Her and those two brothers, not Weinstein.
Krasenstein?
No. Dan, you know them.
Like Brett Weinstein.
Yes, Brett Weinstein.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
What happened to that? They were gonna make.
The University of Austin or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Oh no, they went ahead with that shit. But I mean, like it's like Andrew Tate University, right? It's just like this continued like chud fest. I'm seeing in stream like there's some issues with Twitch. I'm sorry, I gotta like do some QA with whatever. I mean, it seems like we're streaming on Twitch.
It's not a profitable platform, so Amazon's like,
well,
anyway.
we try. We try out here. Oh damn, we had a raid from Subversive History earlier. That's
cool.
My favorite kind.
Yes. So thank you for that. And Teddy Cool says, "What up?" Thank you. So we've talked about doing the segment. I mean, actually, we haven't talked about doing the segment. I'm not gonna blame you for this. But Bam boozled this month Tim Scott. So
damn.
Tim Scott, totally straight, totally heterosexual. Tim Scott.
So actually, Christina, I'll let you go in a little bit here with. Actually, no. We'll add in a little bit of color. All right, we'll add that in a little bit of color. But I want to play this clip. So, Donald Trump won very handily in New Hampshire. After Ron DeSantis was basically considered a do not qualify after coming in third place in Iowa, to Nikki Haley coming up with an upset there, and New Hampshire, being an open primary where you didn't have to be a Republican to vote. And being a place that tends to be a little bit more socially liberal than the rest of the Republican states, was a favorite to be a state where Nikki Haley could turn things around, if any state, because again, Donald Trump has been leading by multiples of 4 times any other candidate in the polls. Like the best candidate will get 15%, 20%, Trump will be at 60%. So that's pretty much how it came out to be. Although it was kind of close in New Hampshire. I mean, in the sense that Trump and Nikki Haley were within 10 points of each other. I think like 10 or 11 points of each other. So Trump was talking to his supporters in Nashua, New Hampshire, after winning very handily again, with some brand new surrogates, collecting them like Pokemon, like Infinity Stones, like tokens, if you will. Vivek Ramaswamy and Tim Scott are standing, as we'll see here, right behind Donald Trump, talking about this win. And it's a really sorry, I just love this image.
Changed his name to Victor Ramsey. He would have been a shoo-in.
Right? You gotta go full in. Like Vivek Ramaswamy, again, you sound like a terrorist. I'm not saying that. Iowa voters are saying that. Okay? So if you had just gone in like the old Bobby Jindal, again, I think Jindal was not really full in. Nikki Haley is like almost white enough. Like Nikki Haley's Simpsons character is gonna be white. There's no way Vivek Ramaswamy's character is not gonna get the Apu treatment. I'm just gonna tell you that. But and all love to Hari Kondabolu, who did that A Problem with Apu documentary. We're tight. But anyways, so this is the clip of Tim Scott fundamentally debasing himself for Donald Trump's honor that he's like not even going to get.
He went way too far.
And so this is Tim Scott, the of the month.
Like Donald Trump is so orange in this picture, dude. That shit is crazy. There's a white guy right there. And
yeah, it's like it's color corrected. It's color corrected.
Like this way, he's using Maybelline Dream Matte Boost Foundation, which we all used when we were like younger, like back in the day. And that shit's cakey, and everyone used the same shade, honey beige, no matter what skin color you were. That's what he's doing.
God damn.
I remember when these girls in middle school were like bronze. Like they're just straight up bronze. But you know what? Okay, let's run this joint.
Did you ever think that she actually appointed you?
That's Eric Trump.
And think of it.
So she's talking about Nikki Haley, and Trump is just, riffing. Of course, this isn't on the prompter. He's like, did you ever really think about this?
Did you ever think that she actually appointed you, Tim? And think of it. Appointed, and you're the senator of his state, and she endorsed me. You must really hate her.
So look at he's just rubbing it in. Two birds with one stone. Like, first of all, Vivek is laughing as though he's not on a leash. All right. So we already saw the Babylon Bee saying that the best you got in Donald Trump's White House is to man the 7-Eleven. All right. So Vivek
were justifying that. They're like, well, it's not racist because it's true. I'm like, that's a stereotype.
True.
The voice of Apu in The Simpsons. Okay, admittedly, after like 30 years and like millions of dollars in royalties off of that voice, but even he was like, all right, man, like, we got to pack it up. Like that's bad. But for the Babylon Bee to make a joke that was off color for The Simpsons to make in the 90s, and for that to be, again, I'm not saying it's a good joke, but for that to be one of their more timely jokes says a lot about the Babylon Bee. But no, so here he is. This is old 2016 Trump. Let me bring you up on stage in front of the cameras so I get to embarrass you. And I get to embarrass one of my opponents. I get to talk about, can you believe it? She's running against you, even though she appointed you to be senator. And so Tim Scott is, gonna laugh it off, showing more gums, and I'm not gonna get Bam in that much trouble. And so here's how Tim Scott's gonna respond to that.
No, it's
oh no, he's gonna pull a Will Smith. He's going up to the mic. He's gonna stand up for himself now.
It's a
I just love you.
No, that's good. That's why he's a great politician.
Oh, he's not.
No. Trump got him right there because Tim Scott then turns around and like goes up to Trump and goes, "Oh, Mr. Master Boss Man, I just love me some Trump. And I just want to give you a big wet kiss on the lips." And Donald Trump just like, look at this lying sack of shit over here, right?
A good politician. That's not a compliment.
Look at this good politician. Donald Trump, the drain the swamp, all these politicians, you can't trust them. The fuck the Democrats, the fuck the Republicans guy, the guy who just made a comment saying, "Oh, look at Tim Scott playing the game. You're running against someone who appointed you." And Nikki Haley won't give you any love right now. And look, here you are on stage for me. And look, here you are coming up on the stage unprompted, telling me, looking me in the face, that you love me. And guess what? You're a liar. I know you're a liar, but you have no other choice because you have to bow down to me. Lick the shaft, Tim. Lick the shaft.
It's just funny because it would have been funnier if he tried to go to the mic and Trump was like, "Whoa, what are you doing? No, what are you doing, buddy? Hell no!
Hey, nuclear.
One mic.
Watch
here,
out! I'll use the other N word.
You almost made me say what he said about the Atlanta voter people.
Oh no!
I'm not gonna do it. But yeah, that is a shame for Tim Scott. Like,
is this Eric Trump? I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
that is Eric Trump.
Yeah. Christina called it. I don't know what his sons look like for real, but I just know that guy is white and this one's orange. I don't even like play up the whole orange Cheeto thing with him, but I'm like, damn, dude, like this one's kind of ridiculous right now. Like it's January, fool. Like, like your ass ain't been tanning nowhere. What's going on with your face, man? Holy shit, this is embarrassing. It's like in his hair too. It's like in his head.
Yes.
It's very funny, actually. Donald James says he's glistening orange.
Like he's almost Vivek. Like he's almost there. Like
come on, man.
Yeah.
Two more hours and he's Vivek's dad. Like
yes.
Whoever's doing Trump's makeup needs to be fired. No, Teddy Cool, like that's the issue. The guy doing Trump's or whoever is doing Trump's makeup, the person doing Trump's makeup is, I just say guy because I can't imagine a woman has like deliberately does that. But Trump gets his makeup like that because he likes it. He's like, no, the orange is great. No, I love it. I appreciate that.
I'm not the best at makeup, but like,
no, you're slaying.
You definitely understand this.
Trump just looks like he wants, like it's so like, it's like that cliche like old woman that was in Hollywood and she's like tanning her, like she's like old and tan. She's got the mirror thing still. Like he looks like that, but like
leaving the tanning bed to get the mirror thing and sit out in the sun. Yeah,
it's like he thinks that that's cool, but like
I remember watching like My Strange Addiction episode. Trisha Paytas was on because she was addicted to tanning as well when she was really young.
Shit.
And I was like, and her like they looked at her like her knuckles looked all crusty and like.
Well, hopefully they weren't bloody like Trump's recently.
Yeah, I think he's got syphilis. I could be wrong, but I'm not a doctor, but
that was weird, right?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
There was a photo of Trump and he had like he was like waving and all his
yes. Yes, the red, yeah. There have been so many, and you know what? Part of me is just like, once you become president, you get on that presidential health plan where you get like all the drugs they don't give the poors, and like that's the adrenochrome plan, right? Like you're good.
Yeah,
right.
That's why Trump hasn't really aged. Like everyone's like, out of all the presidents, Trump hasn't really aged. I'm like, because he gets so much work done.
No. Like when was Jimmy Carter on that plan? Like in the '60s, homie's like 99.
He's still kicking it. I'm like, Kissinger's dead. You could go now. Like.
Right. That's why, like, everyone wondering, oh well, Donald Trump's health, you got to worry about. It's like, no, dude. Like, let alone the fact that Donald Trump was like rich and already had access to that kind of care. Yes, before he was president, he could have stumbled his way into death somehow, probably through like syphilis or something like that. But like now that he has the presidential health plan, no, like they're gonna actually work to keep him alive. So like we're all three of us on camera, if we choose to have children, our children will have grandchildren before Trump is dead. I'm sorry to tell you that right now.
Yeah,
like there's a part of me that feels like I don't want him to die soon because his people will go crazy. Like they will go nuts with the conspiracies. Like I'm not trying to deal with that.
4chan the day Trump dies.
Like like they're gonna go crazy. Like
4chan the day Trump dies if it's October of this year.
Like, yeah,
October
exactly.
surprise,
Like, I
baby. Let's go.
can't deal with that, dude. Like, just don't run. Like, but don't
Seriously,
die.
they're gonna be like the deep
Biden
state.
starts
Look up.
dancing like the old Six Flags guy in the commercials. What are you gonna say, Christina? Sorry.
I'm just saying they're gonna say that the deep state took him down. I'm like, he had a fatty heart. That's
Yeah,
it.
no, yeah, they're gonna make like even if he dies when he's like 103, they're gonna say that. But
Yeah.
like if he dies now, like it's just gonna be too much, dude. Like too
People
much.
are gonna be crying in the streets, and I'm gonna be walking around like
Taking notes of who the people that actually care. Like
hmm
Sorry, I just had to
that's
remind
stupid.
people of the whole commercial. I just imagine like Trump dies and Biden starts dancing like this, like down the Air Force One steps, like not tripping and shit, just like hitting every single beat. You have no idea how much I
love how-
wish I.
I love how there's not one black person in this commercial.
Well, yeah, Six Flags in Santa Clarita around here.
Is this
Oh,
like
the
real?
memories! Six Flags Great Adventures in Orange County, New Jersey. We were like 15 minutes away.
Wait,
Oh.
you're in South Carolina. Did you ever go to the one in Atlanta or no?
Nope, too far
Well,
away.
You
But
go
when
to
I
New
was
Jersey
in
though,
New
right?
Jersey, because I'm from there, we would go to the one that
Oh.
was like 20 minutes away.
Okay, that was
Yeah,
the
living in
first one.
Central Jersey meant you were close to Six Flags and the beach.
The first one I ever went to actually was the one in Atlanta.
Yeah, for the record, I'm not playing the audio from this because like I will definitely get it's the song Venga Bus or like Venga Bros or whatever. I forget what it's called. But yeah, we'll definitely get demonetized if I play the audio. But believe me, I want to. Yeah.
Great.
But yes, no, that would literally be Biden's reaction if Trump died. Like we saw Biden's reaction basically when Kissinger died, and it was basically Rip Bozo in presidential form.
Yeah. They finally held his funeral. I'm like, they didn't bury that corpse yet? That's why there were people protesting ceasefire now and all that shit. I'm like, good for them, but I'm like,
they just had his funeral.
yep, they're finally burying that corpse.
What
I'm
the
like,
hell?
he's probably all skin and bones now. Like,
Is he a lizard person?
Well, no, the sulfur was never mind. Something about
kind of
like
bloated.
He died a while ago.
I know. God, remember when that day was? It's like when Trump got COVID. A lot of us on the East Coast went to bed not knowing that the West Coast got word of Trump getting COVID. And then I woke up. I'm like, why is everyone doing crab raids? What's going on here? Like, Trump got COVID. I was like, happy October surprise.
I think Henry Kissinger's blood was just embalming fluid, and that's why he was able to just like keep going for so long. That's why he's such a piece of shit and why he lived so long.
Mm-hmm.
This fool died in November 29th. Like, why?
Christ.
What?
I want to get to some news surrounding Israel because believe it or not, we'll actually get to some fun things through that. But before that, there's some pop culture stuff going on. I think Christina knows what I'm talking about. But
Yes.
before that, I want to end on some stuff around DeSantis, and I want to end on some. I want to end some of the national news. But yeah, so even though, according to some reading from Axios here, even though Ron DeSantis has endorsed former President Donald Trump, his rhetoric since dropping out of the GOP presidential race on Sunday suggests their bitter rivalry is far from over.
Oh, drums. Let the games begin.
So, DeSantis publicly vowed to veto a Republican proposal to authorize the use of Florida's tax dollars to pay Trump's legal bills. So he retweeted a post from Politico saying that some Florida Republicans want taxpayers to pay Trump's legal bills. And then Ron DeSantis retweeted that tweet saying, but not the Florida Republican who wields the veto pen. So again,
Ooh.
the Republican, first of all, second of all, like there's so many other ways Ron DeSantis could say this that aren't super, like
Yeah.
glee-ish, glee coded, let's say. But Ron, like the Republican Party has, I know Bam got that eventually. The Republican Party has decided that they want Donald Trump, right? That means they've decided by hook or by, I mean, we'll see how the independents roll in, and we'll see how that news really sits, right? And how long this holds. But as far as we can tell right now, the Republican Party don't give a good goddamn about anything that Donald Trump may or may not have done criminally. So, you know what? Even though this is like logical that no state should pay for a like non-state resident, Mar-a-Lago doesn't count, homie. Like some state should pay like, California is going to pay for Harvey Weinstein's legal bills.
That's but it's also like, but like I'm sure I didn't read this political article, but like I'm sure you can find any idiot in the street that'll say like, yeah, we should pay for Hunter Biden's legal bill. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Like yeah, of course there's some idiot in Florida that says like we should all be giving Trump handies every morning. Like
Hunter Biden's the fucking goat, though.
I'm just wondering, like, what, like, is that real reporting? Like, who did you survey that wants to pay for Trump's legal? Does he even have a case in Florida? Like, is there something?
I think it's the Mar-a-Lago thing. I don't know.
Is that like based like the hiding the documents? Is that like, is he going to court in Florida?
I think there are a couple of cases that are in like Florida district courts. I'm not sure if they're federal level or they're state level, but they are Republican appointed. And so Donald Trump will be able to get like Donald Trump will have it pretty cleanly right there. As Bad Lefty is saying, there are cases in New York, there are cases in Georgia. I mean, like there are a lot of cases in this like situation. And yeah, like he's gonna have to go through a lot of different things, but some of these cases are gonna be easier than others.
Ron should, if he could do it, he should. Ron, just do it.
You think so?
Yeah, do something. Yeah, they would like do something to get back on Trump's good side. You might as well. Like you might.
Wait. I don't want to be that guy.
So you shouldn't veto it.
No, if he wants to stay in politics, his only thing now is to try to get Donald Trump to say something good about him. Like that's the only way he's going to stay. Like you might as well do it, dude.
I think so. Here's the thing. I think he's definitely not going to be on Trump's good side if he decides not to like if he decides to veto this. Like if he actively decides, okay, I'm going to stand in the way of your legal bills being paid, even as ridiculous as that is.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, he's like, it's definitely not going to work out for him. Like totally. And he's never going to get him Donald Trump's good side. That being said, like give it a couple years, give it a couple news cycles, give it a couple of like, okay, whatever reason, once again, President Donald Trump needs Ron DeSantis. Like that'll be a that'll like Donald Trump will come crawling back. Ron DeSantis will come crawling back. I remind you, and I'll have to maybe pull this up right now. Really,
they
fast.
Need him.
The commercials that were made, that Ron DeSantis made with his like newborn kid at the time going, look at me, I'm teaching my kid about build the wall and make America great again. Look at me, my kid's in the Top Gun plane with me because I love Trump so much. Like at any point, Trump can just roll that tape and just go, remember, Ron, you're my bitch. You'll always be my little bitch, Ron. So like, I don't know. I always feel like Trump has the upper hand and he can use DeSantis to his advantage if he wants to. And DeSantis will have to go, yes, sir, Trump. Absolutely, Trump. Whatever you want, Trump. And if Ron DeSantis chooses to go against him, it's a Hail Mary for his political career. And the only thing Ron DeSantis can do, he's not charismatic enough to be on TV. he's not politically savvy enough to do a move like that if he's like going against Donald Trump. The best he's going to be doing is like selling gold bullion with the
With Jimmy
Democratic
Dore.
senator from New Jersey.
With Jimmy Dore.
No, Jimmy Dore's not even good enough for gold. He's silver.
No,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is like Ron DeSantis, like I don't like since he's been on Trump's bad side, he hasn't had an election. It seems like the Trump people are against him now. They might elect a Democrat in Florida for governor. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Floridians in general are not really happy with all the anti-woke bullshit. Like again, they want abortion to be completely protected and legalized in that state. They're putting it on the ballot.
Yeah, so I just feel like for Ron DeSantis to like save his political career, he has to do something to get the Trump people to not hate him.
Yeah.
And signing the paper that's going to pay Trump's legal fees, which once again, that's just like, I can't even believe we're saying that. Like, that is not even something anybody ever thought of before. The state to pay your legal fees. That sounds like communism or social. What is this? But anyway, yeah, Ron, you should do it, dude. Like, don't try to act hard anymore, dog. Like, it's over. Just get on your knees for Trump again and see where it takes you. Because if you lose to a Democrat in Florida, I don't know when the next election down there is, but yeah.
Well, no, he's termed out is the thing where he can't. Yeah. Florida has term limits for governor.
Oh,
Yeah.
So he's ass
out of
out.
here.
Ass out.
So he's like never gonna have a political career again.
Yeah, because he was in Congress, right, during the Tea Party thing.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah,
So
Congress.
he's
I
not
don't
going to be
see
a
him being a
senator. Which
senator.
I agree with you, Christina. That'd be a step down for him.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, he's done. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's gonna get mollywopped. I think that's.
Was it worth still change? I mean, he changed the rules for himself so he could still be governor of Florida while running for president, even though he abandoned Florida during the entire campaign.
So the last thing this Axios article notes is 2028. He'll be governor of Florida until 2026, unless Trump's feeling some type of way. When asked if he'll run again for president in 2028, we'll see what kind if we have a country left by 2028, he quipped.
Ooh,
I view
shade.
24 as a hinge point in American history, and if we don't get it right, I don't know what it's going to look like in the future. And,
yeah, that's if Trump is president.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like, that is consistent with what Republicans say about Joe Biden. That's consistent with what partisans say about the other person. And I think that's hyperbole with Joe Biden. I think
it's one election of our lifetime rhetoric.
Yeah, we get this every single year. And when people were saying that Obama McCain was the most important election of our lifetime, like, in retrospect, no. Obama
Romney.
People were saying that with Obama Romney, and
Yep, I remember. That's my first election.
Yeah. People were saying that with Obama Trump. I'm sorry, Obama Trump. People were saying that with Hillary Trump. And you know what? Yeah, that was really America got us good that time. The Illuminati was cooking that time. But this is really a situation where, again, a lot of things I don't like about Joe Biden. We're about to talk about Israel Palestine a little bit. Donald Trump gets elected. If you care a lot all about Israel Palestine, that's not going to get better.
No, it's going to get worse. It's going to get away. I mean, yeah,
it's going to stay the same at best. At best, it's going to stay the same.
Well, maybe by the time that happens, it can't get worse. Maybe things are getting better to some extent at that time, and it's just okay, it's over now. But no, if he was president right now, yeah, it'd be worse. I mean, like I've said before, I've never heard any administration or president say anything critical about Israel ever, not even a little bit. So to hear anybody in the Biden administration or him himself say anything somewhat critical of Israel is shocking to me.
Yeah. I'm not believing it. Anyways, let's see. I'll start with the good news, maybe. So the International Court of Justice is actually set to rule on a call for Israel to stop their military action.
Well, aren't they part of Hamas though?
How is this good news?
I mean, I don't
Dan,
think-
stop it. Don't stop.
Yeah, they're not gonna
you
stop.
have better news? Do you have better news?
This doesn't even matter, dude. It doesn't matter.
I understand that it doesn't matter, but it's definitely a moment in which people like it's a moment where you can really clearly say, like, I think even more than the UN votes, because the UN matters even less than the ICJ, right? At least like the UN doesn't have a prison, right? And again,
we're gonna arrest Netanyahu.
no, I don't think they're gonna arrest Netanyahu. Okay, Bam,
the
Bam.
court for not
Who has,
stopping.
who has more power, the UN or the ICJ?
Well, the ICJ is part of the UN. Like it's not like they're together. But like
I understand, but you can still say who has more power, Congress or the Supreme Court.
Okay, I don't know what's the difference between the ICJ and the ICC. The ICC has arrested people. Now, granted, they've all been African, except for like one Serbian, I think. But I mean, Netanyahu has to worry about being in prison in Israel more than he has to be in prison in The Hague.
So
which is,
to answer your question, to Jamie Joe Rogan this, the ICJ is a civil tribunal, so it's meaningless. The ICC is a criminal tribunal that prosecutes criminals.
okay, so the ICC is for the yes, okay, yeah,
for the government, but the ICC could bring up charges against Netanyahu.
Well, yeah, so it's like I think the ICJ. I mean, I don't know how international law works, but
it doesn't.
At least in the regular like law, you can escalate things from civil to criminal after that's done. And so again, you're going to get to this do not pass go, do not collect $200 situation, but that's not going to be Netanyahu not passing go. That's going to be the rest of us, because there will not be justice served by this court. We're already seeing that, but I still think that for some reason this situation, I mean, I have to not. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna jump into this right now. There's been this thing, and this happens all the time. Whenever you get a situation like this, where a lot of people, like normies, are activated by a political situation, like it's good. It's good that people are caring about human rights abroad, especially Americans, because Americans barely care about human rights across the street.
Yeah, and especially considering that's what's going to determine whether or not they're going to vote for Biden.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see when it mats down to all these other different like places whether that matters or not. But when, like you're seeing across the like online, because it's obvious that it's been obvious since Noam Chomsky manufacturing consent days and probably even before, that you can't trust like mainstream media outlets for these things. People are going online, and the average American mind has absolutely no room for news media literacy. The average media outlet is just posing and faking as a media outlet. They either fired all of their best journalists, or they have no good journalists, and they're just reposting whatever random lies you have. And so basically, like, information is completely fucked in the situation. It's really impossible to tell like what's right and what's wrong. And you have people who who care about the situation, who are just trying to like learn some news literacy and like don't have that news literacy, who end up getting in the situation, and they are falling down the rabbit holes of, we really care about the plight of the Palestinian people, but whenever the West talks about when China is doing something to the Uyghur Muslims, that's just a complete lie. That's just propaganda. Or like, we really care about the Palestinians. That's why we really care about Russia and them making sure that they defeat Ukraine and Ukraine becomes part of Russia. Because it's like it's just like they have no frame, and like They have no frame and sense for international politics, especially around human rights. And the people who are giving them information about Palestinian stuff that we would generally agree with are just dumbasses on the other stuff.
Yeah, and grifters and people who are making profit off it. Also, not for nothing, but people like pages on Twitter like Stop Zionist Hate and Defund Israel are going full mask off with their Nazi propaganda. Yet Elon Musk is out here going to Auschwitz with Ben Shapiro. I'm like, you gave them gold checks, Elon. I don't care. You going to Auschwitz with Ben Shapiro. That doesn't justify having these accounts making money off of Twitter by spewing like, oh, here's a good Nazi propaganda video showing that the Holocaust didn't actually happen. Like, the fuck?
Yeah. Like, it's just a complete mess, especially on Twitter, where in previous elections and previous years, like, the check marks meant something different. The site meant something different. The destination meant something different. People are still getting information from there, and people are still seeing check marks of all different kinds, but they don't know that it's so much easier to fake real news. I mean, like, literally, I used to, I my day job was working in paid advertising, and so, unlike on YouTube where we upload videos and just like kind of get fucked all the time, when you're doing paid advertising, it's totally different. And there's like a lot of standards and real human beings reviewing stuff, right? But all the ads I'm getting served on YouTube are like deep fakes of Angelina Jolie and Taylor Swift selling MacBooks. I'm just like,
Interesting.
yeah, and I'm just like,
Yeah, and we are seeing more deep fake pornography of people like Taylor Swift, unfortunately, on Twitter. And she's considering, she shouldn't even consider, she should just do it, because more and more deep fake porn is happening to women, and some of them are committing suicide, lives are being ruined. The fact that there's hardly any legislation against, AI deep fake porn is ridiculous. It's just getting worse.
Can I go back to the ICJ?
Yes.
no.
Well, I think we talked about it last week, Dan, or the week before that. It's cute that it's cute. It's cool. South Africa, you went up there and you brought this case against Israel. I'm down. I'm not opposed to it. It's dope. You sent some dudes. I don't know if they were wearing wigs or not, but you went up there and you did your thing. But like I said, either last week or the week before, I would like to see South Africa or Brazil or Russia or any of these countries that are like supposing that they are for the Palestinian people to do something material. And I would at least like them to impose a visa requirement for Israeli citizens traveling to their countries. Because as of right now, South Africa does not have a visa requirement for Israeli citizens. Brazil does not have a visa requirement for Israeli citizens. Russia doesn't. These three countries is kind of like, if you know about these countries, it's obvious that they wouldn't have a visa requirement. There are a lot of Jewish people that live in South Africa, Brazil, Russia. There's hella Russian Jews in Israel. There's hella Jews.
And as we talked about on the previous show, it's not without precedent, because a lot of Russians had visa restrictions, even though they were just Russian citizens during the start of the war in Ukraine.
I would like to see something material. Put a visa requirement. That's a real thing that is gonna, at the very least, be annoying for Israeli citizens that travel to these countries a lot. Like, there's hell of Israeli people that are going to Russia all the time. Hell of them going to South Africa. I mean, there's so much business between Israel and South Africa.
And knowing the plans that Netanyahu have for the remaining Palestinians after this war does end, he wants to put them in. I think he's already putting people in like a concentrated area, like a fun little camp, where they are subjected to torture, no sleep. And then the other half, he wants to send them to Congo, kind of like Hitler's original plan for the Jews, which was sending them to Madagascar. But Joseph Goebbels was like, let's actually do something cheaper and try to exterminate them instead. I'm like, Netanyahu, are you not aware of your people's history? Like,
Yo, as a Madagascan, I'm like, I feel some type of way about that. I'm not gonna elaborate, but I feel
Would
some.
you have? Would you wouldn't want him there? Dan?
I'm not gonna. Next question, Bam.
Okay, because hey, man.
We got plenty of vanilla for everybody. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
It's just people are not like a lot of people are like, well, Netanyahu isn't evil, but Hamas is a great evil. I'm like, are you aware of Netanyahu's plans for when this war does end with the remaining Palestinians? I'm like, it's literally Nazi shit. They're like, oh, it's nothing. I'm like, no, it's not getting as much attention, but he does have plans for some of these people, and I'm like, I don't like it. I don't like it one bit.
Israelis don't even like Netanyahu. Like, I mean, not
Yeah.
that much anyway. But like, I mean, more and more, I'm just looking at the situation. Like, damn, did they just let it happen? Like, did he just be like, let's do it? Because this is only helping him stay in power. He's
Yeah.
so close. They were protesting Netanyahu like crazy in Israel. Like, they're to the point where outlets are talking about internal Israeli politics, which is not something that gets talked about that much. But like,
Yeah.
there was so much pressure on him on the street that something like this is like, I hate to say it like this, but it's perfect for him. Like, yeah, everybody's distracted. Like, you can keep on talking about the hostages every day while you bomb them. And you can act like, you're the big victim now. But obviously, it's really committing a genocide. But either way, I just would like to see obviously the ICJ and the ICC don't really have much jurisdiction. The ICC, like I said, only arrests Africans and one Serbian. And the ICJ, okay, you're a civil court. Maybe you're going to try to get a check from Israel. I guess not. I don't know. We'll see. But South Africa as a nation, you can do something. You can say, we're going to put a visa requirement, or we're going to put some kind of extra tariff on Israeli companies that operate in South Africa, because you know what South Africa got? Hella diamonds. So why don't you do that? Donald Trump was trying to buy Greenland. Y'all can't do something?
Yeah, exactly.
Something material, please. The words are cool. The going to The Hague and talking, that's cool. But you can't fool me. I'm sorry.
So I have another thing on this too, because that's why I was like, I'm glad a lot of people are paying attention to this, but the court rulings are like not a matterful meaning thing. I'm seeing a lot of people pay attention to like, oh wow, the U.S. has just launched strikes against Somalia. That's the fourth country they've bombed just in 2024. This is just crazy. I can't believe what America's doing. And I'm just like, yeah, but like we were bombing Somalia way before October 7th. Like this has got nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Like
Like,
what?
we- like, listen,
We've been destabilized in the Middle East way before October 7th.
We got
Like,
troops in Ethiopia and Kenya. Like, but I mean, yeah, I mean that's a whole. The Horn of Africa is a whole nother issue. We won't go there.
But like, we don't have to go there as far as like what's going on in Somalia right now. But what I'm saying is that you have right there. That's the
there you go.
That's a different part of Africa. I wouldn't.
Black Hawk Down. You may remember the movie.
I have it in my bookmarks, I think. But what I think is like what I just want to caution from people, and there's some comments I want to address too, like nothing really intense, but just in general, is to be careful from what sources you're getting information from online, because if they're surprised, if they're trying to like hype up and make a big deal that, oh my gosh, like the US is bombing Somalia, and they weren't talking about that 4 months ago, it's bullshit. All right. Yeah. And then people will respond to what I just said there, and they will say, oh, you're so pro Biden. Oh, you love when America does this. I'm like, no, but I have an ability to contextualize this stuff, right? Like I have an ability to say, okay, the US is bombing Somalia. So what? Yes, it's bad. Yes, America's an imperial state, but like what is going on? Like in the context of that. Why is the United States bombing Somalia? What interest does the United States at least claim that they have there? What's going on down in Somalia? Like, who is vying for that whole region? Like, until you can answer those questions and contextualize those for an audience, don't talk to me. And those people will never contextualize that for an audience because they know what I know, which is that most people in this audience just like fundamentally won't care and won't listen. Not like our audience. I really think our audience is smart and they pay attention to stuff. That's why you found us like at this level as we're doing this. But most people who are just like liking things on social media and scrolling while they're at work just to get like angry at some shit or like see what's going on or popping off, they're not looking to read like a 10 slide deep like inside deep dive onto what's been popping off on Somalia in the 21st century. All right.
Yeah, and don't let me start talking about it, but
Members,
where were you when when Shabab was over there like shooting up malls and bombing schools and stuff? I don't know why. I didn't even know that America had bombed Somalia recently. I don't know why, but Kenya probably asked them too. They're like, "Hey, dude, can you help us out?" Like,
Yeah.
we they're right there, and like we don't want to send our last truck. Can you do it for us? And Biden being the great person. No, I'm joking. But no, like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff when it comes to like international politics that I'll say this, like, you're really not going to know unless you know some history. Like, you got to at least know like what was happening at least 15 years ago, like at least, and maybe a little bit, like maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Because if you're just coming into it like now, like you're saying, Dan, like, oh my God, like they just did this. It's like, yeah, dude, like, don't you know what America is? Like, and also like,
Yeah.
I don't agree with America bombing anybody, but there are some bad people out there that like they're doing like heinous shit. Like I was just talking yesterday with someone about Afghanistan. I'm like, yeah, they were like bombing schools of like little girls, like multiple times, like little girls, just like 12-year-old girls, and they bombed the school, like 50 little girls dead. And they're literally just because they're a different sect, like these are little kids. Like there's people like that out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, but at the same time, I don't think America need to be bombing places like that. America's got a long way to go before America gets to bomb places. And really,
Yeah.
long way to go. First of all, America's.
Look at what they did in Chile back in like 73. Like,
oh yeah, like no, America's fucked up everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, everyone's like, well, why do they do this? I'm like, resources.
Yeah,
I'm like, they claim democracy.
Yeah, we are the worst country in the world. Yes, Dan, America's got a long way to go. And I'm talking like centuries. Okay.
No, I'm like, after Hiroshima, how can you say that, America has a long way to go before we could bomb another country again? I'm like, yo,
yeah,
America
Oppenheimer. What the fuck, dude?
America needs to just start like bombing. Never mind. I'm gonna get termed TOS before I say.
I mean, we might. Tim Pool's getting that Civil War he's been asking.
Cincinnati, you've had a too good. Oh. We could wipe West Virginia off the map so quickly. I don't care.
If America becomes good for like 500 years, then you can start playing international police.
America can only be good when America's over.
Okay. All right. Well,
disband all the states. Also, disband all the states. Let them fight.
Let them fight. Okay.
Let Mississippi and Arkansas like fall in 2 weeks because they can't like afford water.
Okay. First of all, I used to live in Mississippi. I need you to relax.
Yeah, and look at what. Never mind. Bam knew exactly where I was gonna go.
I think it's funny that all these right wingers who are like Civil War, Civil War, Civil War, and I'm like, you wouldn't even leave your compound if that were to happen, Tim Pool. Shut the
Like,
fuck up.
y'all
dude.
live in the suburbs, all right? Yeah, y'all. What Republicans refer to as civil war. No. Here's literally we've gotten to the point where Republicans describe like downtown Los Angeles worse than they describe the actual Civil War while they're sitting in Colorado Springs.
Yes.
Right? Like
Really.
while they're sitting in Memphis, Tennessee, and like, oh, we're getting close to a really fun segment. But while we're here, Christina, this has been an interesting week where white women have been paired against Palestinians somehow. This started not totally, and I'm not asking you to randomly defend white women here because you're on the right side of this. But basically,
We're having a very
basically what had happened was, you know, the actual real important news of the world that's actually happening right now is that in Los Angeles, it's award season for the EGOTs, the Emmys, the Oscars, the Grammys, everything. We're all working through that cycle right now. I know for the Grammys, I'm getting my watch party plans ready for a couple of weeks from now. And so, yeah, Barbie was up and got some nominations, although not the nominations you would expect unless you were extremely cynical. Can you explain it from here, and then we can kind of figure in how little good old Netanyahu got weaseled.
Yeah. So here, for those, I host a movie podcast called Moon Night Extravaganza. We're going over a lot of the other nominees that are for Best Picture. Those who don't know, when it comes to the nominees, they've expanded the Best Picture to 10 nominations. Yes,
Okay.
to include blockbusters. They did that because of Top Gun Maverick and Avatar, like last year or something like that. The problem is that they're not considering expanding the other categories to like 7 nominees, so it's down to 5, which means you don't get people like Celine Song directing or getting a directing nomination, or even Greta Gerwig for Barbie. Now I get it. They're nominated for producer and adapted screenplay. The problem was that Noah Baumbach and Greta Gerwig won an original screenplay. Even Killers of the Flower Moon was snubbed of a nomination for best adapted screenplay. There was quite a few snubs just beyond Barbie too, and I'm here to say that the fact that there are people out there who are like Lily Gladstone should have campaigned for best supporting actress for Killers of the Flower Moon. I'm like, no, she's taking the leading Oscar. She's taking that home. Get up, no. We're like, people have a lot of feelings. But I will say this: there might be some upsets. I mean, there's 4 great Best Actor performances plus Maestro, so you got that. We all don't like Maestro. The Bradley Cooper with the fake nose, playing Leonard Bernstein. That was very much a Oscar baity film.
Right. So you're getting all this like stuff that's happening here. Then you're getting, wasn't there this like LA Times piece that was sort of, arguing why is it, a snub that only Ryan Gosling gets a nomination out of everyone in the film, like
for acting. Yeah. Well, America Ferrera also got, which I'm like, okay, that monologue was great and all, but I'm not really sure that's a.
But Margot Robbie didn't get nominated, right?
No, not for acting, but she produced Barbie. So if Barbie were to, but I think Oppenheimer's going to be taking the Best Picture, honestly, just because that's where the trends are going. But like, we made our predictions on Movie Night Extravaganza, and it's going to be, we kind of narrowed it down, like who's probably going to be getting the acting nominations, the song nominations. I'm looking forward to the performances for Best Original Song, because that means we're going to get Ryan Gosling having to sing I'm Just Ken.
I think that's fully Oscars territory, in my opinion. Sorry, I think Grammys territory, rather. I think we can totally have him in the Grammy situation. But basically, like, what I wanted to get at was that there's like this LA Times article that was like, oh wow, of course like Ken is the one who gets to win the awards. It's the snub towards other movies that, I guess Barbie wasn't, like this other movie or like that other movie. And she's comparing it to movies or like about Native American genocide and like all these other different things that are like, okay,
Yeah,
wow, I can't wait
I
to
was
look.
like, okay, we can be mad, and of course, I came up with the best solution. I'm like, add 2 more slots to all the other categories. Simple as that, because there was other subs too, which drove me insane
Yeah,
as
like
well.
if you're going to have like, to me, the problem with the Oscars is that they can't decide whether they're going to, and it's a similar thing with music, right? Do we care in the music world about purely sales, which of course, like we respect sales and we're talking about like best of the years,
Or
really
the
prestigious
art.
awards, or do you talk about the art? Or is it some combination 50-50, 60-40, one way or the other of them? Admit that, or like be transparent with that, and then accommodate with that and modernize it. Like they're saying, like if they expanded it for one category, if there are similar categories and that bleeds into, then I think that makes some great expansions as well, or some great reasons to expand it as well. But yeah, if you're gonna get the situation where in the most ironic way possible, the man of the movie is going to get all of the credit for like a movie that was led and pioneered by really visionary women, both like in the acting and the directing and the producing space, like all different parts of this film. And hell, we were just talking about the musical production of that too. Like it's just insane. But like there's this whole kind of lashing about like, okay, now people were like, we're going to protest the Oscars, we're going to do all those things. And then as there is on social media, there's this, oh, where was this, attention for Palestine type stuff, right? And then there are these people who are arguing online like, oh, well, Barbie matters more than
shut out too. Like a lot of people are mad about like, I mean, there's certain films completely shut out, and like again, I keep saying Maestro gets nominations. Okay, that makes no sense to me. But boycotting the Oscars, I'm like, you're gonna miss a great performance by Ryan Gosling and Billie Eilish.
These are just, I think people just lost their minds on social media, just more broadly. Like,
film Twitter is toxic. I will say that.
I mean, film Twitter is toxic. Queer Twitter is toxic.
Everything
politics Twitter is toxic.
All of it. That's what it's for.
Except the Shade Room.
I used to be a big movie guy, but I bowed out in 2008 when The Hurt Locker won Best Picture over District 9.
Remember when Crash won?
Trash. I just remember I watched Hurt Locker. Like that was the year Avatar, Hurt Locker, and District 9. And I was like, look, Hurt Locker is literally like a white savior military. Like it's a dude in the Iraq that's a bomb expert. And it's like a white savior. What's his name? Jeremy? Something I forgot.
Clarkson.
I forgot dude's name. But yeah, after that, I was like, you know what? Like trying to like, do like the Oscars thing. I was like, you know what? I can't anymore. That's bullshit. But I think we talked about this. I think we did like, what was the best things about 2023 episode or something like that on here or segment. And I did mention that one of the best things in 2023 was the Barbie movie. I think it was really important. Definitely like the most feminist mainstream movie I think I've ever seen.
Good feminism 101 for people who don't really like know about it.
Yeah, like for the mainstream, like it was great. I didn't know anything about it before I watched it. And I was like told like, oh, you'll like it. And I thought it was just like some silly comedy. I had no idea. But then I watched it, I was like, wow, like I'm shocked. In a good way. And I watched it a few more times after that. I thought it was amazing. And somebody was telling me that Ryan Gosling was getting a lot of the attention after like from his performance. And I was like, typical. But I think it is because of the song. Like people like that musical theater stuff. Yeah, I'm not really into it, but people are into that. So like, I'm like, yeah, maybe if Margot Robbie had like a song in there, like maybe she would have got like more like love for her performance. But I think she did a great job. And the America Forever monologue was great too.
Yeah. Yeah, but it kind of shows because a lot of people, it's when you're nominated. The whole point of the Academy is being nominated by your peers, and a lot of people remember the Oscars So White campaign from a few years ago. It's almost as if it's still kind of we need that campaign because the directors, the people who nominate the directors, are like 75% male and old and white. So it's like you nominate Justine Trite for us. I'm like, are you just allowing one woman to be nominated now? Like, is that like we got our woman, like we got our one woman? I'm like, no, add 2 more slots so there could be 2 more because a lot of women were directing movies this year. I mean, what pissed me off is knowing that A24 didn't do a good job at promoting the Iron Claw or the Priscilla movie for some nominations as well. Because Zac Efron, that movie was actually really good, the Iron Claw, and I even like Priscilla too.
I mean,
Like-
A24 was really hitting on all cylinders last year. You had The Idol, you had the. No, I'm just kidding.
Wait, that show that's on Showtime, what is it, Crush or something? A24 is behind it. I watched it for some reason. It's terrible. Don't
Yeah.
waste your time. It was so weird. I did laugh out loud a couple times, but it was really bad and silly. I think, what's her name? Emma Stone. I think she's in there.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Is it Crush or Crash or something like that?
A24 is not really great, like at all.
No, they've done some good movies. There's been some good movies. Hereditary.
Yeah, they're not
Moonlight.
good at promoting them, and one thing we talked about with our Priscilla film is that the guys were like, it seemed very rushed, and now we know because Sofia Coppola was like not given a good budget, so she had to reuse shoots from commercials to do like certain shots in the movie. So it's like, you know, if A20 and like everyone's like, oh, A24 is like the future of, you know, making mainstream independent movies. I'm like, if they're gonna be the future, then they need to promote their movies to be serious award contenders.
I think that they want to be like kind of low key on to some extent, though.
Yeah.
The Curse. Sorry, that's the show. The Curse.
Yeah, they keep upping their
Oh,
budget though, for movies. So it's like,
Well, it's weird through their budget. It's like I don't know. I'm not a film genius necessarily.
that's why I'm here.
Kind of. But yes, that's why it's helpful. But like sometimes, and I think Marvel's learned this the hard way very recently. You can spend a lot of money and get a shit film. You can also spend a very small amount of money and get a really good film with really good storytelling. And you can do a lot of stuff in the middle. And I think A24 is just like misfired in a lot of ways. Like I think Euphoria doesn't need the budget that it has. And like it could still like have as good of a till it is. I think The Idol should have been they should have charged The Weeknd to have made that show.
Yeah, like the fact that it was actually going to have something with more meaning, and then he got involved. Like, no, we're gonna change it. And I was like,
oh my god,
That show
all
was
of that, all
oh
of
my
the
god, it was so bad.
is coming out of my cock and into your pussy.
It had potential the first like 2 episodes,
Oh, it did.
but then it just like I think it had potential the first like couple episodes, but then it just went off the rails, and you could just tell it was the Weeknd's.
Bam, you need to get out more. Like it's
No,
I
I think it had potential. Like it could have been not like amazing, but it could have been like watchable. But when you got like the Weeknd's little scrawny ass like slapping some big buff dude in the face, I'm like, okay, yeah, dude, you lost it, yo.
Thank you for indulging in that. I think that was just like a wild time. Also, get Bam and I on movie night extravaganza for Bamboozled.
Okay, yeah, we'll work on that. We'll do it.
No,
Can we do a Spike Lee night? I'm so down.
There we
for
go.
Black History Month. Black History Month's coming up.
I mean, we're doing. February's we're doing all our Oscar stuff, but we can definitely, you know, because
Interesting.
we already did Barbie and Oppenheimer though, so that's good.
You know, I am a big Christopher Nolan guy. Interstellar is my second favorite movie of all time.
Oh, nice.
Okay, let me take it back actually, because I guess I'm not necessarily a big Christopher Nolan guy. I just love Interstellar so much. But I was not interested in Oppenheimer at all. I still haven't seen it. I wasn't interested.
I'm the
Oh my
exact
God,
opposite.
Good.
I'm the exact opposite. I think Interstellar is for. Whoa, I almost said something really bad. of context.
Dan's crossfaded right now.
I think Bam is my friend. I think Interstellar is. I'm trying not to offend people.
I don't care. I'm not sensitive.
No, I'm trying not to offend like an audience, right? Like, I think Interstellar is not an intellectually challenging movie.
Okay, was it supposed to be?
Yes.
Why?
I don't think it was supposed to be. I think it was trying to be. And I think like in Christopher Nolan trying to be Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius, I think he just like kind of got in the way of himself.
Well,
Like,
I mean, he does have actual expertise on set, so they can get stuff as accurate as possible. Because when I was watching Oppenheimer, I'm like, I don't understand any of this physics shit. What is he talking about?
but could James Cameron have done it better? I think James Cameron could have made a better Interstellar.
Dan's crossfaded and he's a hater. If you like something, he hates it.
That's absolutely untrue. Just ask me how I feel about Spike Lee.
I think it's funny when there's an article saying that Oppenheimer's anti-women because it should have featured the women scientists more. And I'm like, yes, a movie about J. Robert Oppenheimer should be about the women.
I think there are a lot of women featured all over Oppenheimer. I mean, like physically.
Yes. Especially Florence Pugh in those nice titties.
I was just like, I don't really want to watch a movie about that dude who made like the biggest death thing ever. Like, I'm just not into it. Like,
you'd be amazed. He kind of, spoiler alert, he does end up like having regrets and worries and conflicts about what he did. And Truman's like, I'm the one who dropped the bomb. No one cares who made the bomb. Get that crybaby out of here. Never bring him in again. And I'm like,
no, it's okay, Bam. You're right. He ends up having sex in court. Like this man's unredeemable. He can't be saved. Cillian Murphy's a whore.
You know, use your powers for good, dude. Like, come on, you know, like
bomb the Russians.
No, it's just like like you're a genius. Make time travel. Like
bomb to bed.
I don't know. That's not whatever. But
like don't make a killing machine. There's like, damn, I don't want to watch a movie about that guy. You know, can we get another Gandhi movie or something?
Bam wishes there was like Oppenheimer, but for like Laotians. They just like
Jesus Christ. I had Laotian friends. Relax.
Someone said that you know the dad films are coming out with movies like Oppenheimer. I'm like, Cillian Murphy did not lose weight. They have a 24-inch waist to be called macho. Okay.
I'm sorry. When you said dad movies, I immediately went from like, wait, you think Cillian Murphy's gonna do like a Daddy Daycare remake?
Yeah, what's a dad movie? Like that one with a dog and
like movies that are like that men would want to watch. And I'm like, you know how many?
Oh no, I think of dad movies.
Cillian Murphy.
I think of dad movies as like sitcoms about like, you know, dads that are, you know, bumbling idiots, but they end up like saving the day. Like, Are We There Yet?
Yeah,
or like you know, Goodfellas, or I don't know, Scorsese films. And I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, or like Marvel movies or dad movies. I feel like.
Yeah.
Anyways, for those of you who do enjoy movies, thank you for indulging us in that. Again, check out Movie Night Extravaganza that Christina is on, that I've been on previous episodes on. Ray, who's a Power Report guest, has been on episodes on before. Bam is excluded because he's a racist. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Yeah, he doesn't like us.
I will break my Spike Lee is below me rule if I am on Movie Night Extravaganza with Bam and we do a Spike Lee movie.
Okay.
That isn't Do the Right Thing.
We haven't really had anything for March planned besides Birth to Prey, so we'll definitely do that. We're doing our adventure month, and we're doing Romancing the Stone.
Bam, what Spike Lee movie would you do?
Summer of Sam.
I haven't seen that one before. I would do that.
You know, there's a common misconception that Spike Lee only does movies with all black characters, but he's directed a lot of movies that weren't like that. He gets pigeonholed, you know, but I happen to think that Spike Lee is the best American writer / director of all time.
Oh, wow.
Because a lot of the famous directors don't write their movies, but Spike was writing and directing.
Bam,
Christopher Nolan writes and directs.
Who?
Bam,
Christopher Nolan.
He only has a few though.
I need to show you some Tyler Perry movies, Bam. I think we could
Well, you know what's interesting? There would not be no Oppenheimer movie without the Twilight films.
Oh,
Okay.
oh yeah.
Because it was
true.
Robert Pattinson who was on, I think, Tenet with him, who gave him the book American Prometheus, which is what Oppenheimer's based off of. So he was like, "Yo, you should check this out." And Christopher Nolan's like, "Oh, cool. Oh, I should make a movie about this guy." So thank you, Stephanie Myers, who wrote Twilight.
At
Yeah.
least we got something out of that, honestly, because that
Yeah.
was very painful.
Tenet, a movie that is completely not understandable,
So
impossible to understand.
Yeah. Robert Pattinson.
I'm trying to find the most current article, but this is the fun part of the show, and I'm glad we've made it here. Bam, I promise.
Because I gotta go at 8. So
Okay, good. That's perfect timing. So the New York Times, the New York Crimes, sorry, they released they reposted something from Point Two, I believe, analytics, and this was about where Gen Z can buy a home.
oh
You saw this, right?
yeah.
Yes. And so basically what had happened was the top there's the recent study right there. So dear God, I want to terms of service. I'm learning. So these are the cities where if Gen Z wants to own property, and of course, property ownership, you don't have to be a landlord to benefit from property ownership. It's generally just considered to be like, Bam, one day you'll learn how to lower your camera. It's generally just perceived to be one of the better ways to like gain wealth in the way the United States system is set up. And, these go into broader political economy conversations about capitalism of being a stepping stone towards socialism and other economic systems, but whatever. Based on this system, if you, in a world where rent is raising by 50% every 5 or 7 years in most major metropolitan areas, but you want to be able to own a home in a world where wages are going down relative to inflation, then these are the places you could look forward to living, including Fort Wayne, Indiana.
That might be where the KKK started.
Jamie, can you look that up? Where did the KKK form? Literally. Okay, according to the History Channel, which is where I get all of my information.
Did you know?
No. Pulaski, Tennessee.
Sounds like it.
Maybe like the other iteration started in There's a couple different iterations.
Remember, they were Democrats. You gotta remember that.
Okay, there's too many people in chat who know where the KKK was founded for me to really trust it. So anyway,
Okay.
I'm just messing with you. Number 2, Corpus Christi, Texas. Oh, look at that, beach living.
I do know somebody who lived
We
there.
should just get Texas back to Mexico. That would solve the Civil War.
Oh well, number 4 is Laredo, Texas. Which is,
guys, there's an invasion on the border, so you might want to be careful.
Yeah, you know. I really wouldn't want to live on the border because I'd be living that close to Texans.
Yeah.
Number 3 is Detroit, Michigan. And this is kind of what started this. So Bam knows this very cancelable fact about me, and now everyone else will too. One of my favorite things to do in college, and I went to relatively elite universities, that just kind of makes this worse, but it's also a very expensive place to live, and we were getting rooked as far as rent goes. So you had to understand that we were doing this as a cathartic release, right? And so we would be in our dorm room and we would be like, we're like 4 guys, living in an apartment. This is after our dorms, rather, actually. We were like 4 guys living in an apartment, paying like $3,500 a month once you're counting rent and bills and utilities and all that stuff, splitting 2 bedrooms and 1 bath in this like tiny little corner of the city, trying to go to college, living all of our lives like early 20s college students. Like, we're barely making it out there. What if we pooled our money and for 1 month we didn't pay rent and we just spent that money elsewhere? How far would that money go? And so we ended up starting to play this game, which ended up becoming the Properties in Detroit game, where we would go on Zillow.com and we would find out ridiculous things that you could get for ridiculous amounts of money. So we're going to do a little bit of version here. And so chat, you can play along as well as some of the folks, Christina and Bam, rather, who are on here. But I'm going to ask you to name, you know what? I'm trying to do this in a way that doesn't dox ourselves, right? Like,
I don't care if anybody knows where I live.
it's okay. So, yeah. Okay. So
I'm not important.
it's okay. Bam and I live in Los Angeles County. All right. Even though Bam wants to pretend he lives in Orange County.
Dan lives at 445. No, I'm joking.
That's dangerously close to my social security number. So the median income, the median price for a 2-bedroom, because Bam and I are thinking of getting serious. We can't quite share the bed every single night, so we have separate rooms. But we're getting there. So let's look for a median price for a 2-bedroom apartment in Los Angeles. All right.
A 2-bedroom in LA?
Yeah.
What is this? Hassan's house?
I'm gonna say like, I mean, it just depends on what part of LA, honestly.
It's 2870.
Okay, that's the median. Okay.
Yeah, median. That's a 769 square feet. All right.
Uh,
So that'll get you
28.7. You might be close to somebody's set. You might be. Like, you might be close to like somebody's hood. Like not that far away. Like, watch what liquor store you're going to.
just don't go to the liquor stores.
Yeah. Like,
Okay, so maximum 2870, and we want a 2-bedroom. All right. So I'm gonna go right here.
and this is in Detroit now. Oh, okay.
No, this is in Los Angeles because we're gonna go to Detroit later. That's the fun. Okay. And don't worry, Christina, we'll do this for South Carolina too. So you got some good range around here. No great areas, all right. So you get a little bit of, let's click out. You get a little bit of West Hollywood here. Let's see something and by the way, I don't know about you but $3,000 is kind of insane.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Like, that's not affordable for most people. Like, median salary in Los Angeles.
Okay, wait, this place right here, 2565, Inspire Hollywood. Oh, okay, that's kind of nice, actually.
Hold on.
It's probably where Dan lives.
Live view. No. So the average salary in Los Angeles, according to Gusto, is $72,000. And they say you're supposed to spend a third of your salary on rent, right? So a third of
$2,000.
Yeah.
That's only $2,000 a month, yeah.
$2,000 a month?
Yeah. Good luck.
All right.
$2,000 a month, 2 bedroom. That's like you're in the hood.
No, let's try it. So $2,000 a month, 2-bedroom. Oh,
yeah.
Our options in LA are kind of gone down. Over here, where Hassan's house is, nowhere to be found. Let's see. Okay, so you got some more options over in Huntington Park.
Ooh.
Hey,
you're in some...
Bam, what if we kiss over here in Nickerson Gardens?
Oh my God. I'm
Dude,
mad
hey,
that they're
listen,
even. I'm
the
mad
amount
that
of the amount
Huh.
of good rap music that's come out of this neighborhood, though.
I'm mad that they're even like giving you that as an option.
Okay, listen, hear me out. 927 East 108th Street, 108th Street, yo.
All this shit. Contact the manager.
Look, it's really
Laundry,
nice.
contact. You can. They don't even give you laundry. Contact.
They, they got curtains. They got like material over the window.
This is the one in Nickerson Gardens.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a reason why it's red on the curtain.
Right. So yeah, you can get these nice little Freeway Heights joints right over here. By the way, Figueroa, 111th and Fig, great place to raise a family.
Yeah, literally, it's like it's all prostitutes walking down the street at
Oh,
all
Lord.
times of the day and night.
Man,
Yeah.
Apollo's the Napoleon-sized bathtubs.
Look at that. Look
Okay,
at that.
I just want to know, like, what does 1900 get you in South Carolina?
Okay, so yeah, let's look at
You could do Aiken. I don't care.
okay, let's do Aiken, South Carolina.
Okay, Clay Aiken.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's do like 1.8 over here. So you get 3 bedrooms. Oh, you got a
The whole
house.
house.
Yeah.
Yo. 1234 Evans Road. I think this is my reparations.
I don't know about that cooling other. I don't know about that other. Let's see.
Thank you,
Let's
Donald. Good to see
Oh,
you.
they got a
Take care.
fireplace. Cool.
Yeah,
let's-
you know.
let's see
Okay,
if we
they
got
allow
some hints.
they allow cats. That's good.
Okay, we
Look
got
at this
some hints.
bathroom, though. This bathroom though needs a little bit of work. I'll be honest.
What
Okay,
the
the
hell?
tornado might have hit that.
Lime green. Are you
Yeesh.
fucking kidding me?
I let the tornado hit that. I'll be honest.
Yeah, that's rough.
What in the hell?
Yeah,
How about let's look at a little bit more of what we can do in Aiken, and then let's run to Detroit, because y'all are gonna get drunk with pleasure when you see what you, can get. In
you know what's
Detroit.
funny, Dan? I used to do stuff like this too, actually.
Okay, so you're a sick fuck, Charlie Brown.
Like
Ooh,
look
but
all
how
around.
many apartments? I heard that they redid those. Those are. I heard those are nice.
Which one's over here?
Yeah.
Ooh, these
Okay,
countertops.
the Huntleys.
The Huntley.
Yep.
Like scroll down some more. Like let's look at
Is
the
this-
3 bedroom.
Christina, is this a racial covenant?
Yeah.
3 bedroom. I think I saw 1,600 for a 3 bedroom.
Yo, and like Aiken has
Oh, wait.
fiber internet. Aiken has a lot of good internet too.
Yeah, it
14
does.
1459, 3 bedroom, 2 bath. And you get to be Christina's neighbor. Like, what's better than that?
Pretty much. I mean, that apartment, that whole apartment complex is around the corner from
Yo,
mine.
Bam, we might need to relocate the company real quick.
I've been to
I'll make
South-
my mind.
I've been to South Carolina many times. Now, I was mostly on Myrtle Beach. I haven't really been inland like that. You know?
It's okay. You're right near the airport, and there's plenty of nuclear radiation in the water. So just the way you
Yeah,
like
we are a bomb plant. So if someone decided to attack us, the entire East Coast would be obliterated. So you gotta.
Oh,
consider
actually, all things considered, in a nuclear war, like Aiken's probably one of the safest places in the country. Like
Yeah.
they're not touching that. Like no,
that.
or they are, and they have bad intel. Okay, let's go to Detroit. All right, let's go to Detroit. Let's go to Detroit. Let's see what $2,000 gets you in Detroit, Michigan, baby.
Home of Kid Rock and his
Oh,
black daughter.
Confederate King, Kid Rock.
All right, so
Damn, look at all that.
look at all these options. Look at all these options.
So
For
many
2,000 in the heart of downtown, you can. Whew,
That's
woo,
Brand new.
that's a
was it?
condo.
What is that? Trump Tower?
This
What in the
this
hell?
is
Who
Trump
designed
Tower,
that?
Detroit. This is literally the Willis Tower. It's on Willis Street. Look at all this.
Oh, that looks
You know,
nice.
Central Air.
Look at that
Shared
walk-in
unit?
tile shower.
Oh, this is bougie.
2 bed, 2 bath. I mean, the way the complex looks, it does kind of feel like if you go around the corner, you might find the miscreants.
Yeah, so look, you can kind of see over here.
Okay.
Look at this. Look at this. Look at some of these lots.
I feel like in Detroit, I
No.
don't give a shit.
Now, granted, if you want to buy some crack, it's close to you.
wait. So look at this place. 1.2K, just around the corner. And you know what? It's honestly not bad. It's honestly not bad.
Hmm.
That ceiling looks like it needs some work. That's why they're not focusing on the ceiling too much.
Oof.
Looks like he got some Orville Redenbacher on that ceiling over there. But like, everything else is okay. Plus, you're close to the crack.
You're not that far from Canada.
Let's see. Oh, you got $950.
Ooh.
Woo! That's what I'm talking about.
How is it? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Cozy.
You got a garage though.
Okay,
Like
we styling.
cozy.
We living. Cats, small dogs. All right. Frankie, are you a small dog?
Like,
You got a
yo.
basement. Probably somebody lives in there already, but
A fixer-upper.
Yeah, no, it's okay. You already got a tenant. You got someone to help you with that $950 a
Christina,
month.
did you see that movie? I think it's Barbarian.
Bro, what in the Sopranos
Oh,
is
mother of God.
this?
I'm really mad I'm really mad about this. That's actually a horror movie in itself. Wait, Christina, do you watch horror movies ever or not really?
Horror movies. I fucking love horror movies.
Okay, did you see Barbarian?
Yo, yes.
The one with like the ladies under there?
Yeah.
That's giving me those vibes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
This is
Nope,
way
got it.
worse than steamed hams. Oh my god. It's like, oh good lord, what's happening in there? What should we check? We can go lower though. $950 is still kind of pricey for Detroit.
Of the cities that they put, I would live in Aurora, Colorado. It's right next to Denver. I just won't go to the movies. It's right there.
I think you're oh hey. Look at that. Kitty cam.
Looks like the cat is not feeling it or falling asleep.
Oh yeah, he's chill.
He
Buddy.
So-
He said, why are they showing the death basement?
after the fighting Gil, like, look at that lovely exposed brick. Also, just to do some Canadian love here, look up Toronto, Ontario rents. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be horrifying, honestly.
I feel like Vancouver might be worse.
I'm willing to find that out. Honestly.
But
I think Toronto might be worse than Vancouver. I think it's because of
Really?
Drake. Yeah.
I mean, I would expect rents to be high in Toronto. It's a major city.
Oh yeah, a
But
Canadian
it
dollar
depends.
is playing.
Toronto does have its rough parts too, though.
Every place has its rough parts. it
Toronto
seems.
or Vancouver more expensive. Vancouver 7% cheaper than Toronto.
Okay. Well, Vancouver is the best city in the Western Hemisphere, so
I would agree with that. But anyways, in Zillow, if we go to Toronto,
I feel like does it even work there?
yeah, does it even work there? No, they don't have internet.
No, I mean, like, will they show like apartment rents? Because I feel like I looked in Canada before and they wouldn't show apartments.
Different websites show more or less there. So I mean, honestly, I have no frame of reference for this. So like a 1.6K Canadian is probably like, I don't know, $3.
Yo, wait, hold on, wait, show it on the screen because 1,600 Canadian, yo, we're living life right now.
God's plan.
Wait, hold on.
Bro, what?
Show it on the screen, Dan. Show it.
Oh, sorry. I wasn't realizing I didn't have it on the screen. One sec.
Okay,
God's plan.
Oh,
wait.
there's a bed already in there.
2-bed, 1-bath, 1,600 Canadian.
That's
What was the area like?
yeah, I don't know. This is downtown Toronto-ish. It's Harvard Village.
Huh.
I don't know. I feel like this area is where you get the fake Jamaicans.
Yo,
Like-
no. First of all, there's hella real Jamaicans in Toronto. Don't even do that.
No, I know there are real Jamaicans in Toronto, but there are also fake Jamaicans.
That is 11. That's like $1,200 US.
Okay.
I mean, hey, yo, look up a 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
That's horrifying. Okay. I'm gonna do no minimum, no maximum, and I'm gonna do 3-bedroom, 2-bath. You said?
Yeah.
Oh God.
All these joints are like 5K, 3.6K.
Eesh.
And these are apartments, but are they apartments though?
Let me do
This
just
is like
apartment.
townhouse condo.
It's apartments still. 4K, 9K, 3.5K. Again, this is in Toronto.
But these are, it's saying that it's condo. Okay, there's apartment. Holy shit, that's 48,000 a month. Holy shit, that's baller.
I mean, a lot of. I'll be honest. I'm not impressed
Wait.
by any of these.
1,800. I saw 1,800 3 bedrooms right there in that big ass building. That's Trump Tower.
Yonge Street. That's Gary Yonge. That's the black reporter in England. He owns a building. I'm kidding. I mean, like, no, these look nice. Don't get me wrong. I just don't like. I almost believe these are scams. Like, this feels too cheap. But back to you said one of those cities. Let's do
I would, Aurora, Colorado. I could do that.
Aurora, Colorado. You
That
serious?
dude is in jail. He's in the Supermax.
What about Laredo, Texas?
No, I would never stop it.
Okay, we'll check Aurora, Colorado. We'll see what happens.
I'm surprised that they're saying it's. Well, they're talking
Ooh,
about
go to the
homes.
gym.
Huh?
They're talking about homes too, like not apartments necessarily. So
Yeah, they're mostly talking about homes, but like let's just talk about for renting in general.
Yeah,
Let's just
for
like do
renting.
for everything.
yeah,
And 3-bedroom, 2-bath is kind of ridiculous.
that's crazy. Yeah, just do two and
2 and 1.
2.
And
Two.
again, let's look for price and let's see again median income. Let's go back to that 1,400.
It's all on the west side. I don't know. That might be the rough part.
I don't know. Telling people you live in the North Aurora division sounds pretty welcoming. So for 1.2K, oh, you get a little house for rent here. All
I
right.
actually watched a really cool documentary called The Holly, and it has to do with Denver. If I don't know what else it's on other than Canopy, but if anybody wants to watch a cool documentary, The Holly.
Bam out here trying to ask Christina, when is Tubi gonna get a Oscar nomination?
What the hell are you talking about?
You're bringing up these like Tubi ass movies. Like,
Okay, first of all, it's a really good documentary. It's called The Holly, and it's on Canopy. You're so racist.
What is Canopy?
Still, I've told you so many times. It is basically the best streaming service.
Oh no. I remember what you were saying. Oh my god, $940 in Laredo.
Okay, Laredo's rough, dude.
What's rough with what? You could live in Laredo or Nuevo Laredo.
Stupid. I think that's Mexico.
It literally is.
Yeah. Okay.
Dude, just think about the side hustle.
Mm.
What, being a coyote? What?
I mean, bare minimum, you can make some meth.
Stupid.
Look, it's perfectly fine here. $1,000.
Shit, that looks kind of scary. What's up with that wall? Is that close to Uvalde? Too soon. Okay. Guys, it's getting late out here in Los Angeles County. So
Horrifying. Yes. No. Bam, you're free to go. Thank you for telling us that you would want to go live in Aurora, Colorado.
Aurora, yes. They already I won't go to that theater, it'll be
Future
fine.
school shooter vibes.
Whoa, I was being subtle. You just said it. But hopefully we can get a Black History Month situational movie extravaganza, you know what I mean? Me and Dan.
Or
did
at
one.
bare minimum, we can do Hotep Power Report again.
Yeah, we should do that. We should do that every week. Actually, we'll just do like Dr. Umar's greatest hits every time.
Mm.
All right, guys.
All right.
See ya.
Bam, be gone.
Mhm.
Are there any other cities you want to explore?
Not that I can think of.
Totally fair. Is there anything in chat too? Chat, are there name any cities that you want to see? Especially like the more decrepit, like the more in the Rust Belt, like cities that have been dead since the 1930s, the better.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to see some crack dens for the amount of money I was paying to live in college.
Yeah, it was so funny. Someone, I guess someone's rent was due, and they had to make a joke about Hassan wearing his like tax the rich more when he was like working at TYT, and more house discourse, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, not this discourse again."
I took that photo and
You
there's a lot of
did?
there's a lot of things there's a lot of things I regret about that photo. But and I'm not the biggest like, oh, white knight for Hassan because like he doesn't need it and I don't care. And honestly, I can make fun of Hassan worse than any other troll online.
You find everything you knew.
Yeah. But no, like I actually rented a house because I lived pretty close to Hassan for a little while. That's on the same size plot of land that is where he's living. It's like it's not that big. He just has like a multi-story house, and most of the houses built on that plot of land in the 1930s were single-story family houses. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people are saying Ohio. I'll do that one more time, and then I have some other like local, not local stories, but I guess more national news to do. Someone said Youngstown, Ohio. I'll do Youngstown because I know some people from Youngstown. That's right on the border of Pennsylvania. Right? Oh, like why am I trying to search for it on the map? I can literally just like type it in. Youngstown, Ohio. So Jesus Christ. I mean, I know a lot of people who live in LA who moved from Youngstown, so like that's why they don't live there, but oh, it's so cheap.
Ooh.
4 bedrooms, 1 bath for less than $1,000. Ah.
Oh, bad luck. Bruce Springsteen's a bit of a family acquaintance because I'm originally from where he's from. He actually went to high school with my cousins.
Oh, no way.
Yep. My dad got to jam with him one time. My dad was friends with his cousin. Yep. And every day you get to hang out and drive in Bruce Springsteen's pink Cadillac.
Last one, because this is funny. The butt of every joke in California.
Bakersfield.
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 Oildale too. Okay, yeah, let's see what you get here. Honestly, all of this is way too much. Every single amount here is way too much. Yeah, let's see what it costs to be like right in the flight path of the airport right here. 2 bedroom, 1 bath, 1,300. I mean, like it's a house, but that's still way too much.
Mm.
And this is an Oildale too. It's right by the airport, right outside of Bakersfield. That's insane. No, but, oh my God. What?
Oh.
It's fine. That's good. It's fine.
Mm.
Okay. Let's see. What else have we got here? There's I mean, that's depressing news because I may well do that later or another time. But ooh, did Sashi prepare this? So wait, have you heard about this Carrie Lake stuff?
Oh no.
Do you know about this?
What happened?
Okay, I'm just gonna play this bit from CNN. So apparently there's some bribery involved, and it involves like a top Republican and Kerry Lake
Oh,
official. So drama. This sounds great. Thank you, Sachi, for throwing this in. I gotta see this.
Chairman of the Arizona Republican
Oh no, we're muted. One sec. Let me unmute this.
Chairman of the Arizona Republican Party stepping down after an audio recording of a conversation he had with Republican Senate candidate Kerry Lake. It was leaked to the Daily Mail. Lake and her aides say Jeff DeWitt tried to bribe her to keep her out of the race. In the audio, DeWitt says he was asked by, quote, very powerful people from, quote, back east, whether there are companies that could put Lake on their payroll, and that would keep her from running.
Is there a number at which
I can be bought.
not be bought?
That's what it's about.
You can take a pause for a couple of years.
No.
And then go right back to what you're doing.
No. 10 million, 20 million, 30, no. A billion, no. This is not about money. This is about our country.
DeWitt denied the allegations of bribery, saying in a very long statement that his, quote, discussions were transparent and intended to offer perspective, not coercion. Let's bring in CNN senior investigative correspondent.
Like
well.
the more we do these scandals, and like the better they're recorded on like iPhone 15 Pros with like ultra HD recordings. Where
Yes.
it's basically gonna be like we're on a podcast with our like nice microphones going, oh yeah, so it's not bribery, but well, you know, I wouldn't exactly call it that, but let's just say, you know, you do the thing I want you to do and you end up getting some money for that, and then I'm happy and you're happy, you know, right? Like,
Man, these people are just not smart. They should know they're being recorded at all times. My God, they gotta like, check for wires and shit
you
like
should
that.
assume that you're with the Republican Party.
Don't
Like,
phone that meeting, please.
no one's trustworthy in that party. Like, that's a mess.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, they insisted. I mean, I remember when, let alone Watergate, but there was a scandal, the Rod Blagojevich scandal, and Donald Trump was like, you know, vaguely involved in this, the side character. But
Yep.
Barack Obama, he was a junior senator from Illinois, which was a scandal in itself when he was coming up to run for president in 2007, 2008 against Hillary Clinton. But once Barack Obama had become the nominee, and rather once he had become president, there's this whole situation about the vacant Senate seat that had been left in Illinois, because now Barack Obama is going to be president. Governors generally appoint senators. So like when Kamala Harris, who was the senator of California, left, Gavin Newsom appointed a replacement. And so that's like, you know, a constant thing that's going on right now. And Rod Blagojevich was the governor of Illinois at the time, a notoriously corrupt governor in a notoriously corrupt state, was like basically doing the equivalent of putting the Illinois Senate seat on cars and bids, on like Bring a Trailer, on like eBay, like just going literally the highest bidder gets the Senate seat. Whoever is willing to pay me, Rod Blagojevich, the most money is going to be the senator of Illinois. It's dangerously close to that same thing. It's like, hey, if I pay you money, you will get out of the race. Like, I mean, this is the chair of the Arizona GOP, so it's not like a governor, so it's not the same thing, and like this isn't an elected official, but you just got to look at like how in shambles this party is. Like if Kerry Lake were wearing a literal Donald Trump mask, if your kitty were wearing a literal Donald Trump mask, I think it would be much more I think she'd be much more better off.
Yeah. Also, to the anonymous gifter, thank you for getting 2 tier 1 subs to the Cabin FM and Bark Eater J. Thank you.
Hell yeah. Thank you. Oh, and thank you to
we're,
Squishmallow Dragon.
it's just these people, man, they really think they're invisible. But I mean, it's going to take a while for them to get theirs because it just seems like it's taking forever for Trump to get his, you know?
Oh, yeah.
It's like karma can't come soon enough to these rich people who make all of us suffer.
They they have this hubris to believe they can't get caught or they won't get caught or no one's actually trying to look or pay any attention to them. And it gets kind of embarrassing when they have no issue being caught on tape like this. You just kind of like wonder how brazen, like, because we have this level of partisanship, you won't even have many Republicans calling anyone out on this or like calling Carrie Lake or anyone out on this. They'll just be like, are you a vessel to vote for the things I want for? Are you a vessel to make sure that the immigrants get voted out or like the immigrants stay out and stuff like that? There's another thing related politically to that I think it's funny. I'll get to it like right now. For example, so in Congress, Republicans are trying to fight to get like some sort of border deal across
or shut down the government. How you gonna get your border funding then if you want to shut down the government, you idiots?
It's even better because like we often go through this like, oh, Republicans, you do realize you won't get any of your agenda passed. We shut down the government things. Like that's a usual song and dance. We go through this all the time. This is when it gets even better. This is where it gets better. Because Donald Trump is running and is the presumptive nominee, and Donald Trump views himself as strong on the border wall, even though he said he would build a wall and never got it done. He is signaling to the Republican Party and to Mitch McConnell, rather, that Donald Trump wants the border as something that he can run on. And so therefore it's not something that they should try to pass or try to get involved. Ergo, it's not something that they should try to give Joe Biden a win on. Mm-hmm. But that puts Mitch McConnell and therefore Republican senators and Republicans in Congress in a really tricky spot because those people, in addition to Donald Trump, are going to be turning out Republican voters in November. And if they don't have there's already this concern about Republicans not having anything to come back to their base with in November to their voters to say, like, we accomplished this, we did this. If they also can't say, hey, we tried to get border funding done and the Democrats were actually about to give us a deal, but we decided not to. And they say, oh, because Trump's going to give us a solid. They may or may not like that because they'll be like, oh, you're playing politics with our border now. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, again, there's a civil war happening right now. I mean, Trump literally said that he truthed on Truth Social that, you know, people should be going, that the National Guard or whatever should be going up in arms against the federal government, shit like that. I'm like, oh, great, here we go. It's happened over people who've been fucked over by our own government in like Central America.
It's ridiculous. It's like, as you're saying, these are until we actually have a national conversation reckoning about the reasons that are perpetuating the systems that are in place that have resulted and then are resulting in, you know, migrants coming up to our borders in these record numbers. We can't have these conversations because you have an entire party that is like primed their base to say, by definition of having these conversations, it's wokeness, or worse, it's offensive to America and like the very values we stand upon, or worse than that, it's offensive to you as an individual because being reminded of wrongdoings of America or whatever are actually bad. It's actually an issue to do that. Like, you know, like the bill we're talking about in Florida, right? Where being reminded of white fragility or white privilege could actually be an illegal offense. This is what Republicans are priming their base to do. So you can't have
or the Republicans who are like, this is an outrage that you can't learn about Anne Frank anymore. I'm like, you did that though. They're like, I can't believe kids are not learning about the Holocaust anymore. I'm like, you did that. Democrats didn't do shit. They're not doing anything about this nonsense that you guys have been doing for years now. They just ignore it as another culture war.
Yeah, Republican cancel culture is saying, oh no, don't teach about the Holocaust. Oh no, don't teach about Native American genocide. Don't teach about what the CIA did to Latin America in the 20th century in response to the Cold War, trying to artificially prop up legitimacy for a capitalist system and for a Western hegemony in this hemisphere, or United States hegemony in this hemisphere, as opposed to just being like, okay, well, let these democratically elected countries experiment with their flavors of capitalism and their flavors of socialism, and you know what, even their flavors of communism. And if that means they want to ally with the United States on certain things, or they want to ally with the USSR and other things, that means that they are actually actors who have a decision in the world stage for once.
Yeah. It's this whole situation is getting worse and worse because everyone's like, well, Biden defied the Supreme Court to cancel student loan debt. I'm like, no, he didn't cancel. He didn't do anything. He barely scratched the surface with student loan debt. What are you talking about? He didn't defy the Supreme Court. They just don't think the way he wanted to do it was legal.
He took the point of least, like, he took the least strong path for student debt relief.
He could have just made an executive order. Bing, bang, boom.
He could have, instead of going, I'm going to try to move it through the courts in a way so that I'm not going to get challenged. Meanwhile, he's running against, he's honestly criticizing someone in Donald Trump who's saying, oh, he thinks that he has the executive ability to just do bad things and then dare the courts to come after him. And guess what? Like, yeah, he can. Because still, Joe Biden hasn't been able to repeal everything Donald Trump was able to do with his executive privilege. So
yeah, there's some policies he's fine with keeping.
Yeah, I was seeing a thing the other day about there was some news at the Postal Service about them like getting new electric vehicles or something. And like Louis DeJoy is giving the press briefings. I'm like, Louis DeJoy, the guy appointed by Donald Trump with the sole purpose of gutting and privatizing the U.S. Postal Service. So essentially you're just like handing over a vital, service for our democracy and for our country to private organizations who are just going to charge a lot of money for it. Like, oh, so Joe Biden decided to keep those people in. That's great. That's cool. That shows exactly what the kind of person they are. Yeah, like it's
Biden's weak really and pathetic. He can help Israel out with their genocide, but he can't, do anything about the LGBT. Because I mean, here's the reality: LGBTQ plus folks are suffering more now than they did under Trump, because now is when they're doing all the shit, and it's only going to get worse. If Biden's administration had stepped in, like what Obama did, because Obama went authoritarian on like North Carolina and other states trying to do anti-trans, anti-LGBTQ plus bullshit. I'm gonna say, if Obama were president right now, this shit wouldn't be happening, because he actually listens to his daughters.
And it was largely like, I think there's a lot to be said that any real president with some like gusto there would be pushing the needle on this. Something that Joe Biden's really not doing. Like Joe Biden will at minimum just like, host some like fun things at Pride. During June,
or be like, or like make a post about Roe v. Wade. I'm like, what did you do about it though? You didn't do anything. You said you were going to do something, but you didn't do it.
When you were in the Obama White House, when they were talking about codifying Roe v. Wade back then, nothing. The moment they left the campaign trail, the moment they got into the White House, they're like, oh, I'm sorry, the economy exists, therefore all of the wombs are going to shut down. That thing the Republicans said back during that time, that was like, if it's a legitimate rape, the woman's body has a way of shutting the whole thing down.
He's dead.
Thank God. Rest in peace, you won't be missed. It's almost as if the Obama administration was like, oh no, don't worry. If it's a legitimate recession, wombs around America will just shut down and people will stop having babies. But yeah, like, so if Joe Biden was just, willing to use his executive power the same way Donald Trump was willing to do, or even, a Barack Obama or a Bill Clinton was willing to do, and say, you know what, I am abolishing the student loan system and I'm replacing it with something new and different for people who are just coming into it right now. Sue me, figure it out, because you're gonna have to unravel my process and then sue me. And
if I was president,
that would have been better.
People would hate me, because I would be like, I'm pulling federal funding towards every freaking state with any type of anti-LGBT. I'm like, I'm sorry, but you're not getting anything. You're not getting anything. I'm gonna make sure businesses get closed. I'm gonna make sure you guys economically suffer. for what you're doing to these poor people. Like, I don't care. People are like, jam. I'm like, and I'm gonna be giving people health care. I'm gonna be making sure that they don't get student loan debt. I'm gonna be enacting UBI based on every state's cost of living. Like, everyone be like, what the hell? But when it comes to Republicans, we're not pull up, deal with their bullshit. Like, I'd be like,
I would be really interesting as a dictator, and it's just like, I know that America is really weak and feeble, so it would really work in my ways.
yeah.
I don't like, it's not necessarily a criticism of what you're saying, but whenever there are government shutdowns and things like that, I kind of cringe a little bit, because like, I know people who work for the government and they have jobs in there, and it's like, they're just like regular rank and file people, and they just
Yeah.
like, and they do things like, make the post office work, make Social Security work. These are very important roles here, right? So I don't want to punish those people. I don't want to punish regular people. I want to, how do I TOS this? I want to treat Republican politicians in red states the same way that CEOs in China who make severe errors are treated. And then I would institute all of my very liberal policies. So like, Republicans get universal basic income, and conservatives and libertarians get universal health care, and
Yeah.
college for all is afforded to rich people. And in about 6 months, when the heat dies down, they realize that all the talking points they used to use won't work, because people like public goods when they are public and when they are good. And if you just funnel the money and have the political will for that, then you can do a lot of good for that. And I know a really easy way to get the political will and money for that, and that's to cut a lot of these military government contracts.
Yeah. Yeah, I would be like, yeah, we're cutting military funding. I don't give a shit. Like, I would be like, people be like, what in the hell? I'd be like, I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
like,
some
I'm like, you know what? We are banning aid to Israel. We never give Israel a single penny again. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Yeah.
They would be so mad.
Yeah, they're like, oh, if they ban aid to Israel, no, ban aid to Ukraine. I'm like, okay, I can live with that. And it's like, oh, well, if you're going to accuse Netanyahu of a war crime, then you might have to accuse Obama or Biden of a war crime. Okay, cool. Again, like, if these are things that are trying to discourage me or to dissuade me, it is absolutely not working.
Only
It is
aid we're
doing-
giving is to Palestine. That's it. Everyone else, or whatever. War-torn countries. Not for war, but for humanitarian aid. You sleepy boy.
Yes. I know it's late for you, so I want to wrap up soon, but I want to wrap up on something fun. There's annoying news. The annoying thing I was going to mention, but I think it's just like important to note, is that in Texas, this was reported by the Houston Chronicle this week, 26,000 rape-related pregnancies have been estimated after Texas has outlawed abortions,
That's
according to a new
55 rapes
study.
per day in 16 months.
What's that number?
55 in those 16 months per day.
And not just like 55 rapes, but like 55 rape-related pregnancies.
Yeah.
It's like rapes that turned into like babies, right? Which is like, some conservative Christians like to say, well, look at the bright side to that. But it's like,
all these new lives being born.
I mean, like, y'all need to keep that opinion to yourself and manifest that publicly by running these orphanages. But until then, Karen, just keep adopting
I'm gonna be
dogs.
honest. If I was raped and I got pregnant, I did not have an abortion, I couldn't get an abortion, I put that up for adoption. I could not look at my baby in the eye, because knowing that it would look exactly like my rapist. Like, I'm that type of girl who couldn't do that, because you're gonna have to tell one day how your kid was conceived, and you'd be like, well, didn't
And
go
that's-
like,
And that's completely fair within someone's opinion to do, and some's like right to do, rather, right? And so it's the highest estimate among 14 states with total abortion bans, and it makes sense with Texas having the largest population. And really, the hatred with how Republicans have handled abortion may be like the strongest undercurrent thing that could help the Democratic Party at this point. I think that's pretty farewell, because again, even though Joe Biden could have done more to protect this, and even Donald, like, you could still Democrats still need to make the argument very clearly that Republicans and Donald Trump specifically set the environment in place for the repealing of Roe v. Wade. Because a lot of people will say like, oh, Donald Trump and even Nikki Haley are moderate Republicans when it comes to abortion because the other ones are too like rabid and they're too like, yeah, we want to gut it. Yeah, we want to gut it. Chris Christie and Nikki Haley and Donald Trump are savvier politicians, but they work for the Republican Party. So if they have a chance to even grease the skids or prepare the runway or do what they can to allow abortion to be repealed on a national level, they will do that. Even if they say to your back, oh, let the states decide. Oh, New Jersey or South Carolina or California doesn't mean that you no. It ends up in the same drastic, horrible, terrible result, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's just the one thing that's kind of keeping South Carolina at bay is I think it's the Fifth Circuit Court, which is mostly made up of liberals. So like every time they try to do an abortion ban, like the highest court in South Carolina, the Fifth Circuit Court's like, you're not doing this. Are you fucking kidding us? We're always going to intervene. That's why South Carolina hasn't become Florida.
Thank God. Really fast, super last thing before the actual last thing. From as someone being in South Carolina, especially before we get into primaries that are happening there, do you get a sense, you get an interesting kind of perspective of folks in like Aiken where you are and the folks you're kind of interacting with? What's your sense on the ground of people's opinions on the Republican side for the presidency, the Democratic side for the presidency, any independent candidates for the presidency if possible, and then broadly speaking, down ballot things? It doesn't have to be details, but like, are there interests in any of the four categories that I just mentioned in South Carolina right now?
Nope. I mean, I think they're running candidates, but the Democratic Party does this thing where they run a candidate every 2 years and then that said candidate goes away. You never hear from them again. The Democratic Party in South Carolina doesn't have a plan. All they have is Jim Clyburn. And the reason why they made South Carolina the first primary this year is to prevent like people like Cenk or Marianne Williamson or whoever the fuck else is running as a Democrat to like get anything in. And I'm like, you do realize that, you guys use black voters, older black voters to get what you want. And in the end, South Carolina is going to be red in general. So why do Republicans don't have a state to harp on like Democrats have for South Carolina. And like, I mean, people are they know who they're going to vote for. It's either going to be Biden or Trump. Nikki Haley has no chance in South Carolina, her home state.
I think that's hilarious. Like, how you used to rely on home court advantage so much that like it didn't matter what politician you were or like how disliked you were more broadly. Like in the 2010s, a candidate like Ron DeSantis still would have won Florida. Or like a candidate like Tim Scott or Nikki Haley still would have won South Carolina. Vivek Ramaswamy still no. I'm sorry, no.
Yeah,
but like,
I mean, a lot of people are vote blue, vote blue. I'm like, I've been voting blue in a red state since 2012, and South Carolina's gotten more like right wing, more conservative, more far right. Like it don't matter. It doesn't matter.
Even locally at that point, then, because it's just
like vote for your county judge and all that shit matters, but like state and government, like no.
Well,
oh shit! I just got a raid. I can hang out for a little bit longer.
Nice, cool.
We could just shoot the shit. Thank you, Mike, for the raid. Support. Yay!
Is that Mike? Human support, Mike?
Yep. Human support.
Oh, Mike. Sick. Nice. We often get raids from them after they do.
Yeah, and Bender just raided too. Yay!
Sick. Well, cool. We've definitely got more things. Hey, y'all. We've just been also covering news here on Power Report. You just missed Bam, who, many people are saying is a good part of the show.
Yeah, like it frustrates me. I know friends who work in the Democratic Party in the state of South Carolina, and I'm like, guys, aren't you like not satisfied? Like, do you got what are the plans? Like, do we have a blueprint for what we want to do? And they're like, we go to Clyburn's, fish fillet event or whatever, and I'm like, that's it.
Clyburn's fish, like
He
That's
has
how-
like a grill out where people can join. It's just like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's a classic politician thing. But I want to get to I don't know, something. So here was Nancy Pelosi, who was speaking at a political fundraiser. And sadly, and I've been to a lot of political fundraisers even post October 7th. I was there in Los Angeles when Joe Biden was fundraising in West LA. And unfortunately, Democratic Party fundraising numbers are high as they've ever been, breaking records. So at least among that class of people, the money is still flowing in. And there's a lot of structural reasons why that makes sense. But you are continuing to see, 3-4 months coming out since the October 7th attacks, and all of the horrendous things you've seen disproportionately done to Palestinian civilians since that date. Joe Biden can rarely do publicized events without them being protested. Even the UAW endorsement of Joe Biden was interrupted by members of the UAW who were pro-Palestinian and were demanding Joe Biden commit to a ceasefire before the UAW actually endorse him. So you have Nancy Pelosi here, unfortunately from my state, but not my congressperson, but the wealthiest congressperson and probably one of the best stock traders in Congress, of course.
Yes.
Also, thanks Satiated Skater for the follow. Here's Nancy Pelosi getting interrupted by protesters. Let me get this up here. There we go.
Nancy Pelosi, you are complicit in the Israeli crime of genocide. I'm an Iraqi refugee, and I watch your government you represent kill 1 million of my people. You killed 70,000 Afghans, and now over 30,000 Palestinians have died due to your complicity. We demand an end to the Zionist occupation of Palestine. We demand an end to the 17-year-long brutal siege of Gaza to be lifted. We demand an end. End the occupation now! End the occupation now! End the occupation now!
So that person was recording. You can kind of tell, like, okay, it's time for you to go. We'll have your bag. We'll get your bag, etc.
Yeah.
Like, great for her. Like, that is civil disobedience. That is disrupting. You can kind of see as I mute and go back in reverse here. You see as she starts, like, people just like turn their back and they're like, huh? What?
Yeah.
A spine in a room full of Democrats? What?
Yep. Totally.
Amazing. Yeah. I'm really happy to see all of this stuff as it's happening, and I'm happy to see the energy continue to be kept up. I was talking about earlier in the show how, without the right context, you can be misled. I mean, your anger as a consumer of horrible things online that are happening across the world can be justifiably used, but pointed in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
If you're seeing today, as Democracy Now! Reported, and there's nothing wrong with their reporting, that the United States has bombed Somalia, and you're going, oh, the United States is bombing or helping Israel bomb Palestine, and they're bombing in Ukraine, they're bombing in Somalia, and they're bombing in Iran, and they're bombing in Yemen. And it's like, yes, but there's context behind all of that. And you can sum it up by saying U.S. imperialism and capitalism and Western hegemony, all these other different
America
forces.
bad.
Yes, of course. Yes, America bad, but you have to break it down and have an actual context understanding for each of these things and why they're happening. Like, this is not the first time the United States has bombed Somalia. It's not even the first time in the past 6 months. It's for entirely different reasons, not directly related to Israel and Palestine. There's a whole different context of things going on in Somalia. You have to understand how you connect those things. And the woman in this speech actually did a really good job, because she was noting how Nancy Pelosi, especially from being a top Democrat, I shudder to think part of the progressive caucus in the House since the 90s, right? And a current member since then, which shows you how meaningless being in the progressive caucus is. But she voted for actions that essentially led to the deaths of over 70,000 Afghans, as she was saying, right? And now 30,000 Palestinians and counting. So it is just unhinged. It is just obscene. And Nancy Pelosi, there's a lot wrong with her. She should definitely be taking a lot more heat and criticism and critique from all this, because it's well deserved. It's a bare minimum. Just being heckled is nothing to, like having your family and your neighbors and their neighbors generationally wiped off the face of the earth.
Yeah. I mean, these politicians deserve to be the H word, harassed a little. Yeah. They deserve to not have peace. They deserve to be,
they deserve to sleep at least as difficultly as those of us who are, safely not in Palestine right now, but are, troubled by what we've been seeing for the past 3.5, 4 months. Like, those of us who've had trouble sleeping, those of us who have cried or wept or like had an angry moment, like, these people in power are not having those moments, and they deserve a bare minimum to have those things, not out of any sort of like vengeance or whatever, but because they are our representatives. When we are angry, when we feel like there is injustice, they should be representing our anger and our fight towards that injustice. And the bar is in hell, but that needs to be our standard for our representatives and for our politicians.
Yeah. It's especially considering a lot of these politicians are so old and bought by the Israel lobby, and it's just like, when are they going to retire?
It's on the one hand, you're seeing two things. Like, there's a generation of newer politicians who are willing to stand up to the Israel lobby. Like, I think we need to defend the squad at all costs. Like, yeah, you have a lot of leftists who are like, oh, I don't like how AOC did this, or Rashida Tlaib said that, or Ilhan Omar didn't go on that podcast or whatever. But like, when the rubber hit the road, AIPAC and the pro-Israel lobby are going to be coming for them for their stance. And on the converse side, they're going to be propping up people like John Fetterman and people who standing, like,
who lied his way to get into office.
Enhance the truth. I think you look back and like, we were projecting a lot of progressivism onto him that he wasn't fully totally there. But this is to say, like, John Fetterman was definitely deceptive, and that kind of politics is going to be rewarded very handsomely. And we at the grassroots level need to make sure that folks like AOC, folks like Rashida Tlaib, etc., aren't steamrolled out of Congress because of their because of standing on 10 toes with what the rest of the world thinks, with what the rest of the people think, what the majority of people think, left and right.
Yeah. I just wish that all this would, like, the grifting coming from people whose names I won't name because they've been named too many times already, basically who were like, not who are using this war as a way to make a quick buck.
Yeah, there have been and will be too many people doing that, and will continue to be, which is why, like, we'll continue talking about it on the show as we're covering it, and I don't mind naming names, especially, and we have in the past, for people who are misleading, but we also want people to just like build that sort of conscience and cadence, because like with folks like Michael Brooks, what they did a really good job of is with their show, you were a really good consumer of information because you saw how they process information. So
He's missed. I miss that guy.
very deeply. Do we want to spend? There's still a couple more people on here. I feel like you want to go like to the top of the hour, or maybe even wrap sooner. I feel like we could just like go through chats and stuff. There's people like
Yeah, that's fine. We got like 20 minutes.
mostly people are in chat talking about which chats they've been banned from and for what reason. Soul Life said I was banned from Pac-Man chat for implying that his chat was poorly managed and he needed our money. The two things that irk him most.
Yeah, that guy. He's insufferable.
Yeah, I mean, I won't say disappointing on the Israel stuff because I had no standard for him necessarily because he's a very milk toast. Like you have to understand, there's a funnel. Like in marketing, I'm not gonna go through a marketing rant this late at night because it's boring for everyone, myself included, even though I work in this stuff. But in marketing, you have a funnel, and the top of the funnel are the people who are like a broad audience, people who are randomly driving down a freeway and they happen to see a billboard. And then the bottom of the funnel are like the people who are addicted to Stanley Cups. They constantly want to buy them. Like you're most interested.
Oh, those things. Oh
yeah,
my
it's like
god. Imagine they did that a collab with Barbie.
world's over. So the bottom of the people who are most interested and the top of the people who are like least interested, right? So Dave Pacman are for people who are like at the top of the funnel politically, especially on the left, who are like barely interested and like on any given opinion or like the wind blowing could basically be a fascist or could basically be a Republican. And I'm willing to say fascist when you look at like a lot of David Pacman's whitewashing of what's been going on since October 7th.
Yeah.
But
or Ben Glebe's takes.
I don't have it in me, right? Like I don't have it in me. We've had some close calls even in this chat on this show with TYT people and that issue, so it's been very interesting. There was someone else who was saying, Morbius saying, I'm kind of bummed. I became a member on David Doyle's channel and he skipped over my name when they're doing super chat. I am sorry for that. I gotta hope like to do my best on doing these things. I saw someone else saying that like they were in David Doyle's chat and they were talking about Anna and then like that made them like get banned or something. And yeah, I get that's all like touchy for everyone, but
yeah, because it's drama. They don't want to. They're kind of over that now.
Yeah, and like I don't see a point in, let alone my past like close working relationship with a lot of the people there. I think it's more relevant when they are actively making content and responding to the news in a way that is worthy of critique. I mean, I've not been shy of criticizing a lot of leftists who I think are dropping the ball, especially around trans issues on the show. I think way harder and way before I went in on Jank and Anna on TYT, I was going in on Kyle Kalinske, and people were giving me a lot of shit for that. But I was pointing out about how, why is Kyle Kalinske routinely choosing his relationship and his friendship to Joe Rogan and his access to being on the Joe Rogan podcast for like opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to express to Joe Rogan either in a video on his own channel or privately the shit he's talking about with trans people is very problematic and is putting lives at risk and danger. It's like, yeah, I think it's totally fine for people on the left to, in different tones and different ways, critique these different things and talk about that. But yeah,
I'm very band happy because I try to keep it very like with my Twitch community. I keep it incredibly safe. If there's people who like follow me and the moment they do something like they just act so weird, or someone made a anti-trans comment about me even though I'm not trans, I'm used to that by now, and my mod immediately banned them. I'm like, yeah, I want to keep this a fun, safe space for my community. If you're going to be weird and creepy and assaulting, I'm going to ban you. I'm not going to debate it.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Every community has their own way of doing things, and I have a loose/no ability to moderate here, but I don't have any toleration for like racism or transphobia. I will let people like try to have out opinions and perspectives in a Hassan's chat kind of way, but like I don't have
Yeah.
the patience to fight it out with people. So yeah, in that sense, like when any sort of leftist starts making videos routinely about some dumb shit and then I can make content off of that, then I will do that. But since it's been, a year or so since their like last major thing about it, then I'm like not going to spend a lot of major time on it really.
Yeah.
There's another thing we got in earlier that was like, less specifically about that, but kind of like more broadly. And Don James had to go, but I think it's like a good conversation point anyways, like a quick one. But
Mhm.
like, he said, have we reached a paradigm shift in online news yet? Like, are we there? We seem to be going in that direction. We were kind of talking about at this point, how you had kind of the same thing because people don't trust mainstream media. You're going to other sources who may or may not be trustworthy on information. And so they may be good on one issue like Israel, Palestine, and then they may be bad on other issues like, TYT with trans stuff like we were talking about,
Yeah.
or some of these lefties with other foreign policy issues. Being good on Palestine, then being bad on Russia, Ukraine, or being bad on, situations going on in Central Africa with the Congo or Somalia or, any of these other things, right? It's very often. And, I think a lot of that is coming through independent media, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's getting harder to trust, I mean, everything, all the mainstream media outlets that are factual have a paywall, while like all the right-wing outlets, no matter how legitimate or just batshit insane they are, it's like, this is why this is why people are so dumb. This is why people are so dumb because like, all the like credible news sources are behind a paywall. And people have to like go to like fucking the Blaze or Daily Wire or even the Daily Stormer even to get like their news and shit. And I hate it. But I do feel like more people are definitely getting their news online. So there's definitely need for good legitimate sources. But I do think it's important that people actually when they start following people, they need to vet their sources and make sure that, they're not being fooled into like, oh, they like this one thing, but then they're being like, if they're being pro-Palestine, they also can end up being very anti-Semitic in general. So you just, you gotta cross your eyes and cross your T's and dot your I's when you're looking or when you're following people. Like with me, all my policies are very far left. So people are not going to hear me say, oh, I have like this view that's right wing or whatnot.
Right. Yeah. Like, and, I think we all try to have ways we want to allow ourselves to be kept accountable while also doing that work ourselves. Like we are looking and trying to vet things and we are building off a lot of, years of expertise and experience on these things. I think one big example, Matt Bender had pointed out there was an account, and I can put it on screen here as long as I make sure I don't accidentally show my DMs.
Oh yeah, that one, yeah.
Yeah. There's an account called Stop Zionist Hate that, it's Twitter. It has a gold check mark. It,
So
looks
does Defund
official.
Israel Now. That's another one.
Yeah. The Eyes on the Right has a bunch of these as well that I can show. But basically, Elon Musk and Ben Shapiro had done a tour in Auschwitz. And, these accounts are probably fine. Like, you don't like Zionism and these things. Stop Zionist Hate's not really like a phrase that comes from anywhere, but stop blank hate is like a weird thing.
Yeah.
But also, if it's called Zionist hate, okay, so these things like stop black hate, stop Asian hate, stop brown hate have been like, okay,
yeah.
We are trying to fight against people that hate these groups. So we're trying to stop Asian hate. If you're saying stop Zionist hate, it almost sounds like you're saying, hey, there are people who hate on Zionists, and we don't want people to hate on Zionists because Zionists are people too.
Yeah.
Which is like,
Yeah, it's just, those account like there's a basically the got stop anti-Semitism, which is basically like anti-Semitism, but it's mostly stop anti-Zionism because they're stalking and doxing people left and right just for simply having a watermelon on their shirt. Like there's the opposite of that. So I'm like, all these like accounts that have come about since this, the Israel Hamas war started, it's like I don't trust any of these accounts because they clearly have an agenda. They're stuck in their ways, especially the ones that are pro-Pal, and people are like, the left is eating them up. I'm like, no, they're not. Like seriously, like we're like liberals and progressives think we are so gullible. Like
they think that we're gullible as them. We think that like, oh, just because Act Blue put up some like memes and Occupy Democrats says hashtag call to action in a page that like we'll react just like they do. And it's like, no,
Yeah.
you gotta vet your sources. You gotta like check your information.
I'm like, yeah, I'm totally going to follow and agree with the account that's doing Nazi revisionism and propaganda. Like, yeah, totally. Like,
and to that point, this account that we were talking about here, when you read the post itself, it says Elon Musk and Ben Shapiro are in Auschwitz, a town that allegedly witnessed genocide in the 20th century. Just stop right there.
allegedly.
Allegedly, as though Adolf Hitler and 6 million dead Jews, as long as like and many other like minorities in Europe at the time are still in litigation with each other. So you don't want to say they definitely did it in case the other one wins and you might get sued on stream like it's a Kyle Rittenhouse situation. No, it's not like that allegedly. At this point, 80 some odd years out from the horrible events of the Holocaust, if you are saying allegedly about Auschwitz or any other real things that happened about that event, you're an anti-Semite. You are an anti-Semite. You are absolutely an anti-Semite. And so by having like stop Zionist hate here while also being an anti-Semite, Matt Bender was saying he was warning people about these kinds of accounts. You look at the people that they're following and they ends up being all of these like right-wing crazies. You look at Eyes on the Right and you're following people like GMs like Lucas Gage, Keith Woods, Maram Sulsi, like all these other people who are like, fronts. They're like those people like, who's that Korean lady who goes on Joe Rogan, like the North Korean lady who's like says she's like the expat, but like she's like, there's these grifters. They're Ian Miles Chongs. They're all of those folks who they can conveniently they can conveniently come into a place and convince people by telling them a narrative that they already believe that they're trustworthy.
Oh man, they really the funny is real now. They'll post like Palestine stuff, and then like they'll post a Hitler speech like his words remain true today, and I'm like, you guys are just going full mask off. I see, like, okay. And then there's this one where it's like 80+ year stage old photos. Yep, like saying that Holocaust was staged. And of course, then they're like, well, what about it's like, okay, let me show you this tweet right here. 80+ year old stage photo. Yep, and then this shit. This is an anti-Semitic account.
Let me try to get that on the screen right here.
You have to scroll. Yep, you'll have to scroll. It's like it was posted like 21 hours ago or something like that.
Okay. No, that's easy. Right here.
Yeah.
There's
another one too. So Hitler talked about the state of Germany 80 years ago's violent speech. Nothing in this video was remotely violent. Jews got mad that the community note got taken off, so the story was not reporting.
Can you send that to me, like either DM it to me on Twitter so I can like just go through this one for the audience?
Yep, I got you.
So you see this like Bart Simpson meme, and it's
there you go.
Trying to, when you get to this point where you're comparing genocides, like, oh well, one genocide's real and one
like that, like
fake.
that young girl,
no.
like don't compare other genocides to ours, and she got laughed at. She was like, oh.
No, that one's a little bit different because like that's on the other side of here. It's a really important thing to like be nuanced here is that when you have posts like this from this quote unquote defund Israel Now account,
Yeah.
what you're actually getting is someone trying to say, oh, you can be angry and righteous about what's going on in Palestine because, oh,
Yeah.
whenever Jewish people talk about the genocide, they're lying. And whenever they're talking about it's like not real, which is horrendously anti-Semitic and not the winning argument to have here.
Yeah.
Like the woman you were talking about earlier, like the other argument you're seeing made by people who are like Jewish Zionists is that you can't use the Holocaust to compare that to any other genocides that may or may not be happening right now as we speak.
Yeah, because a
Yeah,
lot
how
of them
something
are
like
like,
this
it's
is
not
just
the same
wild.
thing though. I'm like, it is if it's a genocide, there's ethnic cleansing, displacement. Like, come on. Like there are steps that lead to genocide, and Israel checks all the requirements for a genocide on the Palestinians. They
So
just
it's
never again, right?
it's good. This is the other post you were talking about. It's good when you go to something on Twitter and it says visibility limited because it violates X's rules against violent speech, which they basically don't have any rules.
Yeah.
But yeah, defund Israel Now had posted something in the past, like you said, saying Hitler's speech with English subtitles. Everything he said still rings true today.
Wow, I can't
They
believe I
quote-
actually got the whole quote right.
They quote tweeted that whole post by saying, so Hitler talking about the state of Germany 80 years ago is violent speech. Nothing in the video was remotely violent. Jews got mad. The community note got taken off. So they resorted to mass reporting. Insane. I was like, listen, Hitler talking about the state of Germany 80 years ago was violent speech. I'm sure you can find, especially on Twitter. I mean, again, I'm not going to get into the nuances of what this person's video post limits are on Twitter because they pay for a gold check, right? If you're going to post it's easy to post like a clip of Hitler, maybe not talking about something violent during the 1940s. Like, I'm sure at one point
If
he
he's
was
speaking loud and in German, 10, 9 out of 10, he's talking some violent rhetoric. I would know because I am German.
I'm sure there are some times he was just talking about a post office being named, or like they were, christening the next generation of the Volkswagen Beetle or some shit like that. But also, a lot of the times they were talking about ethnic cleansing and genocide. Again, 9 times out of 10, Hitler 80 years ago was talking about ethnic cleansing and genocide. In fact, it's helpful to contextualize, and this is why it's like a broad thing again, because we've gotten to this point in America where you can even get this far in public using absolutely Nazi rhetoric because Republicans have fought against teaching context and history. Now people on the left are trying to make sure that we're teaching context and history, and people are fighting us against that. Think about how scary that is to begin with.
But like those accounts are like, well, if Elon's so concerned about stopping anti-Semitism, how come he hasn't banned us yet? I'm like, because he actually doesn't care.
Yeah, it's
otherwise
like
he wouldn't give you a gold check.
These people don't have the understanding, they don't have the history behind all these things. Because if you learn the history of Hitler talking about the state of Germany 80 years ago, much like Candace Owens didn't get, all of that nationalism and all of that, Germany first. Yeah, maybe you can say it as, hey, he's just proud of his country and he's talking about what's wrong with it. Yeah. He's proud of his country because he believes they are genetically and ethnically superior to their neighbors. All right. He believes that their neighbors are the cause of their problems and you have to exterminate them. People within the country are the cause of the problems. And you have to exterminate them or get rid of them or force them to assimilate for those problems to go away. And that's the stuff that Candace Owens and, these accounts and a lot of right wingers, most of them knowingly, I'll say most of them knowingly, some of them are too dumb and they don't know, but most of them are knowingly spreading that, sleight of hand misinformation under the guise of Nazism and fascism.
Yep.
As horrifying that's happening, again, on the backs of dead Palestinians. Like this is, these are purely evil people, and they're doing it purely for likes and clicks.
Care. They just want clout.
Yep. Well, we've been on for almost 3 hours now, and it's like midnight where you are, so I know it's late for you. Thank you for staying on. And thank you all in the chat for watching. It's been a long day and a long week for I know everyone. And so I know that's been good. Is there anyone you
Oh,
want
I need to
rate?
promote something, by the way.
Oh yes, please do.
This Saturday, y'all, I'm doing a subathon, but not just any subathon, a Hot Ones challenge, where for every 10 subs I've gifted on this, I go up a Scoville level. I have season 22's this lineup, and this one, the last Stab Experience TBA, it actually has a Scoville level of over 2 million. So for every 10 subs I've gifted, I'm going up.
Yes, the more people who sub at twitch.tv/cosmopolitics, twitch.tv/cosmopolitics, the higher on the Scoville levels she will go. So if you think
Do you
Christina's
want to
hot
see
now,
my makeup melt off? Do you want to see me in tears? Do you want to see my nose running? Do you want to see my face beat red? Do you want me to see walking around freaking out about a hot, 12 p.m. Eastern on Saturday.
if any of those above fetishes seem like they might work out for you, then check out, that's 12 p.m. Eastern on Saturday.
Yeah.
12 p.m. Eastern, 9 Pacific. Brian Newton, I also saw you in chat, and you're a real one. You were asking what were the Stanley Cups. If you were talking seriously, we're not talking about like the hockey Stanley Cups, like the awards. We're talking about basically it's just like a mug or a tumbler, like any sort of. Were you about to like reach for yours?
Also, a lot of people. Here's the thing: if Cardi B and NSYNC can do this lineup, so can I.
Yes, it can be done. But yeah, they're just like, large reusable mugs you can buy.
Yeah, I got cheese, I got milk, I'm gonna get ice cream, I got bread. I'll be good.
Yeah, just I think sugar is good as well. Just like just the little like cups of sugar, just like whatever you need to do to get rid of that sensation.
Water, not helpful at all. People say drink water. I'm like, nope. Water just makes it worse.
Yeah, water just gives you more like liquid to go through this.
Yeah.
And Brian, check out once we end the stream in like literally 2 minutes. Google, like I think a woman was. Let me pull up right now really fast. But a woman was arrested for having Stanley Cups, right? Like she stole a bunch of Stanley Cups. Yeah, right here. Police arrested a woman for allegedly stealing 65 Stanley Cups. So these little like tumblers right here. Yes. Absolutely insane. The anti-corporatist says there's a Mexican cactus that has something that's so spicy that it kills nerve cells, and they're looking to use it for chronic pain. It's kind of sick, actually. Pretty metal. But yes, check out Christina and all the things she's doing there. Twitch.tv/cosmopolitics. I can be found at youtube.com/Dan from the internet, twitch.tv/Dan from the web. We're rolling out a bunch of memberships and all those other different things for 2024. I'm going to be doing a lot of content, whether I like it or not. We're going to be releasing a lot of content from last year. We have an entire year's backlog of content. It's going to be great. Other miscellaneous things. I do audio face. Bam does different things. You can find them streaming on We Made It podcast. There's also Movie Night Extravaganza that Christina is on very often, that I have guested on, that other Power Report co-hosts have guested on. So check out all of those things. And thank you all out there online for being you all as well. I'm sorry, Soul Life, that you just spilled water all over your bed. But I hope you all have a rest of time, good time have a good time in your bed was how I was about to sign off to people. And I think I'm just going to leave it there. The power is within you. Have a good night. Goodbye.